All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wargames podcast number 37. That is right, the time has finally fucking come for the Kevin Smith special, if you will, or as I called it in the title there, the View Askew special. So, joining me tonight, as per usual, is the Lobster, and as well joining us once again is Nichols. Good evening.
Good evening.
Uh, and so, yeah, exactly as AA Ron says, I'm not even supposed to be here today, and I'm not. Thursday is supposed to be one of my days off. Yeah, obviously we didn't do the podcast yesterday. You know, it's 4th of July. Happy fucking belated 4th of July to all of you out there. But I had to. I had to do the podcast. Me and Loster have been looking forward to doing this podcast for quite a while now, so we had to get it done this week. So went ahead and rescheduled it today. And yes, Jel, the Hunter Call of the Wild does indeed have single player in it, and it's not bad. You know, something to pass some time. So, what we're going to be talking about tonight is primarily movies, shows, whatever related to Kevin Smith and the whole, as well as the whole View Askew verse. But we'll also probably end up talking about other movies and shit like that. So, for any of you guys that may be wondering why, you know, this podcast is the Kevin Smith special or whatever, it is because today is the 37th War Games podcast. And for anybody that doesn't know, the number 37 is, I guess, Kevin Smith's kind of lucky number. It's always held a lot of meaning to him. And for most people around my age, the first time we were introduced to Kevin Smith was the movie Clerks. And in the movie Clerks, the number 37 has a really, big part in it. And there's a joke about his girlfriend sucking 37 dicks, and Dante is number 37, and so on and so forth, which we'll get into a little bit more later on. More about the movie, not the dick sucking in general. But that's why 37 is the Kevin Smith podcast. So the first thing I want to do, and I don't know if Loster's actually back here yet because he went to grab a quick smoke before we actually got going. But the first thing I want to do is kind of go through how each of us were introduced to Kevin Smith. So, Nichols, I know you hopped in right before we went live, and we were talking real quickly about Dogma. Was that the first Kevin Smith movie you watched, or did you see anything before Dogma?
It was either that or Clerks. I can't really remember.
Okay. So do you know like around when that was when you seen it? Like around like what age or what year or whatever?
Had to be probably early 2000s ish, give or take.
Okay. So what was it about? What was it that drew you in with Dogma? Like, was it just the jokes about Jay jerking off thinking about dudes, or what?
It was more just the jokes about everything, the jokes on the religion and just everything being a mockery almost.
Mm. Yeah, Dogma was always one of my favorites. As I was telling you guys right before we went live, because Carlin was playing a Catholic priest, and as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Carlin. I grew up listening to him and watching him and so on. And I, of course, knew his views and his thoughts on religion and things like that. So to have, to convince Carlin to play a Catholic priest, it was just so damn funny to me. And he played the part so well. And then having, Buddy Christ and things like that was great. I know for myself, I was first introduced to Kevin Smith from Clerks, and Clerks came out in, I believe it was 94 when it came out, and I didn't see it until like 96. And I got it on VHS, and it's actually funny. I think Clerks does hold the record as the most stolen VHS from like movie rental stores, which is funny because the fucking part of the movie, Randall, who works next door, the place is a video rental store. But anyways, I first was introduced via Clerks in like '96 or so, and the reason that it just like immediately grabbed me is, now Kevin Smith is very well known for his dialogue and, just having two people sitting there talking, which you would think would be very boring. But especially in that time at that age, you never seen people converse like that in a movie. Like, you didn't see real conversations in a movie. Like, I remember, watching movies and thinking, like, nobody fucking talks like that. Like, I've never had a conversation like that with my friends. Nobody is that dramatic and, so on and so forth. So when I seen Clerks, it was like, holy shit. Like, this is legit. Like, this is the kind of shit that me and my friends would talk about, and this is how we would say it. That was the big thing for me. It wasn't just the subject matter. It was how they were saying it and how they were going about conveying their thoughts, which was very much so the same way that me and my friends would do. So it was really nice to, finally have a movie like that. And of course, then, movies like that, word of mouth wasn't the same as what it is now. We didn't have social media and all of that to, hey, you need to watch this and so on and so forth. Like, it was, all right, you go to school and your buddy's fucking older brother who's in college fucking got this movie, and, like, it was legit word of mouth then. It wasn't, checking out fucking Facebook or whatever and somebody talking about something. So it was really, really cool to come across that, and it felt kind of like you were in on something. You knew something that a bunch of other people didn't know. You knew about this really awesome fucking movie, about these people that actually talked like normal fucking people. Or maybe not normal people. Maybe me and my friends were just fucking weird, but it was normal for us. So yeah, that's how I was first introduced to Kevin Smith. As, like I said, a lot of people my age were, was with Clerks, and I've been a huge fan ever since then, and have watched everything with exception to Tusk and oh god damn it, the one he just did with his daughter, and Johnny Depp's daughter, the fucking shit, can't remember the name of it now. Damn
I
it.
don't know the name of it either.
Yoga Hosers. That's it. I didn't watch that one because it wasn't for really my viewing. And I knew that, ahead of time. I had seen multiple interviews and stuff with him where, he had said this movie isn't for my normal fan base. It's for tween girls, was his explanation of it, which is fine. Whatever. He was doing something for his daughter, which, fine. But yeah, those are the only two I haven't seen, is Tusk and that. And I've watched every fucking thing else I possibly could. And is Loster fucking back here yet? Not sure.
Not that I know of.
Doesn't look like it. So Nichols, have you watched anything, in terms of Kevin Smith? Like, have you watched anything that weren't like his movies? Have you watched any of like his, I guess, stand-up, if you will? He does like big Q&A sessions. Have you ever watched any of that stuff?
I've watched a few. The other one that I really got into was his show. I think it was like Comic Book Men or whatever.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, Comic Book
Yeah.
Men. I watched that for a while when it first came out, but I wasn't like a huge fan of the shit inside the comic book store, like the people coming in to sell stuff, because I mean it was just made for TV bullshit, which I hate, all of, like, the reality TV stuff like that. But I loved the scenes where it was just the guys hanging out in the shop bullshit and busting each other's balls.
Yeah.
Especially Brian Johnson, because I've always wanted to see and hear more from Brian Johnson, because I knew that the character of Randall was based on Brian Johnson. And after watching Comic Book Man, I was like, oh yeah, I can completely understand that now. And I wish he would do more than just like a podcast here and there, because the guy is genuinely fucking hilarious. But yeah, I did get into comic book men for a little bit, but like I said, I didn't care for the buying and selling and stuff. I love the part where they were just hanging out bullshitting, or at the end when it was all of them, just sitting around the table talking.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really like those parts. So a lot of people don't realize, in terms of Kevin Smith, that he does a lot more than just make movies. I mean, that guy is insanely busy. Um, he does the movies, but he's also he's directing TV shows now. Like, he's directed quite a few episodes of The Flash and Supergirl as well, and he does multiple fucking podcasts and stuff like that. Like, he does Smodcast, and he does Fat Man on Batman. He does Hollywood Babylon, and a couple of other things, as well as like panels for all different kinds of cons, and then his Q&As that he does all over the fucking country, but shit, all over the world at this point. It's insane how busy that guy is, and it's almost impossible to keep up with every single little thing that he does, because it's just too damn much. But I was lucky enough a few years back to go to one of his Q&A things that he does. And it was at the State Theater in Ann Arbor. Not a huge place. I know probably like 1,000 people total can get in there. Went down there with a bunch of friends, and it's literally just him up on stage with a microphone talking for 3 hours. Just telling stories about his life, what he's doing, what he's working on, what he's worked on previously, and things like that. And just, some of the experiences that he has. And I was in awe the entire fucking time that this guy was talking. Like, he's such an amazing orator to just captivate an audience for 3 hours by just simply talking. And I was telling Loster about this one time, that is the only event I've ever gone to where I was inside a building sitting down for 3 hours, and not once did I ever get up to go out and smoke a cigarette, because you can't smoke indoors here in Michigan. And I remember when we left, like, getting out to the sidewalk out in front of the theater, and all of us were just kind of looking at each other like, holy fuck, what the fuck just happened? Like, we just sat through that 3 hours. None of us got up to go out, smoke, take a piss, nothing. Like, we just sat there in our seats the entire time. And it amazed me that someone had that ability as a storyteller to be able to do that. And there's very few people that can do that, which is one of the reasons why I'm such a huge fan of Kevin Smith. But would that be, like, Nichols, you said you've watched a couple of his Q&As, right?
Yes.
So would that be something, like, given the chance, would that be something that you would go and see live?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those that I've always gone to concerts and stuff like that, but I never thought I'd want to just go sit and listen to somebody talk for a few hours. But like I said, I definitely enjoyed it. But that's, again, only a small portion of what he does. But again, most people know him for his movies. So to kind of get back into the movies, he did Clerks, and the way he came about making that movie is just absolutely insane. Like, Nichols, have you ever heard how Clerks came about? Like, how he actually got that movie made?
No.
It's fucking insane. I think he was 22 at the time, or 23, something like that. And he was working at a convenience store. He was working at the Quick Stop that's in the movie Clerks. That's where he actually worked. And he still worked there while they were filming the movie. But he had decided that he was going to go to film school. And he went to this film school in Canada, and I believe it was a 6-month film school, or 9 months, something along those lines. And that's where he met Scott Mosier, the guy that produces all of his movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
and he ended up dropping out of the film school. He dropped out partway through and went back to New Jersey and decided he was going to make his own movie. And he wrote the script for Clerks and got a hold of Mosier and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this movie. I'd love for you to come out here and help me do it." And they basically Kevin Smith got a bunch of credit cards and maxed out all of the credit cards to buy all of the equipment they needed to film this movie. And neither one of them really knew what they were doing. So they were reading articles and, just researching as much as they could to try and figure all this out and how to do it and so on. And I think it was 26,000 or something like that they ended up spending to get the movie made. Actually, stand by here. It looks like we got Loster's wife going to join us.
Yep, she sure is.
All right, there she is. I don't know if I have to give her talk permission. Stand by. There we go.
Honey.
So should be able to talk now. Excuse me.
Hello.
There she is.
There we go.
Yep.
So, Loster, we were just going over. Oh shit! And real quick, Gig, thank you very much, brother, for that 5-month resub, and also Too Tall, thank you very much for that 10-month resub. You guys are fucking going at it today. Thank you guys. So we were just going over how Clerks actually got made, which I'm sure, Loster, you know the story of very well.
Yeah. He was 22, I think.
22? Okay. I knew it was like somewhere around there. But real quickly, before we get back into that, I had already talked about it and I already had Nichols go over it. But I wanted to hear like how you were first introduced to Kevin Smith, whether it be movies or whatever. Like, how did you first come across Kevin Smith stuff?
I discovered Kevin Smith in 2001 when Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back came out. Never heard of Jay and Silent Bob. Never heard of that universe. We picked it up on DVD, and it was one of the funniest fucking movies I'd ever seen in my life. And then that was kind of like in the, 2001 was kind of like in the earlier days of the internet for like my generation. So you had like MySpace and people were talking about other like Kevin Smith movies, and I heard about like Clerks and like how it was like this cult phenomenon, and I'm like, I never heard of this fucking movie. And I think one day I saw it for like $10 at Walmart, and I got Clerks and I watched it. I'm like, wow, this movie's great.
Right.
And then from there I watched it all in chronological order. From that point, I watched Clerks, and then I watched Mallrats, and then Chasing Amy. I
Nice.
vaguely remember, so I watched them all in order, and then up to Jay and Silent Bob, and then I was just kind of addicted at that point. I would watch all of those movies, with the exception of Dogma. I just don't think I owned it, so I didn't watch it. I would watch those movies like religiously.
Right.
But yeah, 2001 is when I started from Jay and Silent Bob and worked my way backwards, basically.
Right. Okay. That makes sense, because that was like Jay and Silent Bob was his most successful movie up until Clerks 2. So that's where a lot of people were introduced to that whole universe, was because of Jay and Silent Bob. Because that movie, there's no two ways about it. Like, it was a huge success, especially for the money they spent on it. But like, Rain, you're also a fan of Kevin Smith. Were you introduced through Jay and Silent Bob as well?
Yes, actually. Jay and Silent Bob and also Dogma. I particularly really like Dogma.
Oh, apparently the fucking ladies like Dogma tonight. Okay.
Well, she's definitely a bigger Jason Mewes fan than a Kevin Smith fan. That's for sure.
Yeah, Jason's awesome.
Oh, jeez. So that's the snooch to the nooch.
Yeah, you can't blame. Jason Mewes has a huge cock. You can't blame anybody for.
No, I thought Liam Neeson had a huge cock.
I believe they both do.
But
I'm Oscar Schindler. And now you're on my list.
That shit is so funny every time they do it. The whole fucking Liam Neeson has a huge cock thing.
He has
so
a particular set of skills.
yeah.
I have a very particular set of skills.
So God damn it. To go back to Clerks, as I was saying, it was crazy how that movie was made. And Kevin Smith had maxed out his credit cards, and it was, like I said, it was like 26 grand they got together to make the first Clerks, and they were filming it while Kevin was still working at the Quick Stop. He would work during the day, they'd close the store at night, set everything up, film, and then tear everything back down in the morning and open the store back up, which is why, a lot of the shit that goes on is at night. And the whole reason that they ended up going with black and white was because at the time it was cheaper. Now, the fucked up thing is it's actually more expensive to film in black and white than it is in color, which is weird. But I was saying earlier when I was first introduced to Clerks, the reason I loved it so much was because people had real fucking conversations in it. Like, they talked like normal people. They didn't talk like a movie. It wasn't just what they talked about, it was how they did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When Dante and Randall are talking, yeah. But like whenever like a third part, like that whole Death Star argument where that roofer, the contractor, walks in and he starts putting his 2 cents in,
Yeah.
it's like that dude is a fucking. They just grabbed some dude in Jersey off the street. They're like, here, can you read
Right.
these? Like, here you go. Like, yeah, like
Yeah, they
that,
obviously
that's when
weren't
it gets,
trained actors.
right.
But the
That's when
thing
it
is,
gets,
that conversation came from a legit conversation, though.
yeah, absolutely.
Which is fucking hilarious. Like, that's an actual conversation that Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier had while they were up in film school. Like, that to me is just fucking hilarious.
I never actually looked it up. I know Kevin was friends with Jeff Anderson too, right? But he wasn't Brian O'Halloran just like some actor that just needed a
Yeah.
gig?
Well, he knew Jeff through like mutual friends. Like, they weren't buddies
Okay.
that hung out all the time. Jeff was a friend of a friend who went there to audition, and Jeff's buddy didn't get the part, and they gave it to Jeff because Jeff went up there and auditioned just for shits and giggles. But yeah, Brian, as well as oh shit, I forget her name now. The one that plays Dante's girlfriend. They were actually actors and doing like theater plays and shit. They're around Red Bank, and they just got the parts because they were pretty much the only trained actors in the area. And so they got the movie done, and they had gotten lucky enough that I can't remember the guy's name, but one of the guys who doesn't select films for Sundance, but he makes recommendations to the board that selects films for Sundance. He made a recommendation that Clerks be shown at Sundance. And it was a huge waiting game and so on that it gets shown at Sundance. And it finally did get shown at Sundance. And, now Miramax / the Weinstein company that came from Miramax has horrible publicity and nobody wants to deal with it and this and that. But at that
Sure
point in
do.
time, Miramax / the Weinstein brothers, they were like kings of fucking Hollywood. And Harvey had been shown Clerks before, and he made it 10 minutes into the movie and walked out because he just hated it. And then they seen it at Sundance, and he's seen it with a crowd. And again, about 10 minutes in, he went to get up and walk out, and one of the execs for Miramax like basically forced him to sit back down in his chair and say, no, you're going to sit through this movie and watch it with a crowd. And he did, and they picked up Clerks that night. Like, as soon as the screening got done, they went across the street to a restaurant, had dinner, and Harvey made him an offer on the movie right then and there. And that began like the partnership with Miramax and then later Weinstein. And then they took it to Cannes, which was where it really blew up. Cannes, it got a huge standing ovation, and stuff like that, and that's when it kind of exploded and got its worldwide release and all of that. Uh, and then after Clerks came Mallrats, which is a very, very close second for me in terms of all of his movies. I absolutely loved Mallrats. Reason being, again, it was very close to me and my friends and what we did. Just going to hang out at the fucking mall, bullshit, and knowing all the different stores and this and that. Again, back at that time, that's what you did. Like, there wasn't shit else
Right.
to do. You went
There's
to the
no
mall.
internet. There was no.
Yeah. Like, even if you didn't have money, like, you weren't going to the mall to shop. You were just going there to fucking hang out. Like, if you were able to hit the food court, cool. If you were able to hit the arcade, cool. But you weren't generally going to the mall to shop. You were just going there to fucking hang out. Which is exactly what they did. And I dug that. Like, I knew so many guys like that, you know. So Mallrats was definitely a very close second in terms of favorites for me. And Loshka, you said you went back and watched those after watching Jay and Silent Bob. So was it weird for you to like see Muse and Kev like in Jay and Silent Bob, obviously years and years later, and a little bit more, I guess, capable in their acting, and then go back and see them in the first Clerks standing out front there, and Jay's doing the whole, $15 little man.
Yeah, it's night and day thing because like, what's the time gap? We're like 6 years between Clerks and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah.
Right, 94 or 90 or 7 years, something like that.
Yeah, it was like 94 to 2001.
2001. Yeah, so 7 years. To go back and watch Clerks, it's so like because Jay and Silent Bob is like a very well produced film, like absent of what anybody's opinion might be on it, because it is a movie about weed and dick and fart jokes, which is fine, but a lot of people like might be a little too fucking tasteless for them or whatever. But absent of all of that, it's a really well produced film. Like, it's really well put together. Kevin Smith is a good editor. They had really good quality equipment, and like he didn't have any like. There's really a whole lot of like shitty moments in that movie that like represent like bad acting or anything like that. Whereas Clerks is like, it's one camera, and it's in black and white, and there's like all these shitty.
And the camera never moves.
The camera never moves, and like there's a whole bunch of like there's that scene when like the same thing with the scene where the contractor is talking about the Death Star. It cuts to Jay, and he's like stealing donuts.
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't fit because he's like, you can tell he's just acting, like he's looking around making sure this is how I would act to see. Oh, I hope nobody sees me stealing these donuts. And it's like it's come such, even like I'll even say like Mallrats is kind of like shitty, like put together movie, like compared to the movies that came after Mallrats.
Yeah, I would say in terms of Mallrats though, the thing that saved Mallrats was Jason Lee.
Sure.
Like, even at that age, or even at that time, like that was the first time Jason Lee had ever done acting besides some commercials. He was a professional skateboarder. And that's, like Jason Lee, the guy from My Name is Earl and all of that. Like, he was a professional skateboarder before he started acting. And the first thing he acted in was Mallrats. And he was fucking outstanding. Like, he was hands down the best part of that entire movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, because, like, what was the other guy's name? Dwight? What was or QD? What the fuck was that guy's name? The other guy? It was. Brody, and who was the other one?
Damn it, JT or
Quint or.
Shit, I can't remember now. Yeah, Brody's the only one I ever remember.
Yes, but like I didn't give a shit about.
No.
Like him and his fucking girlfriend. That other twat, the one that breaks up with him.
Oh, Shannon Doherty?
Yeah. Is that the one? Is that the one who has
Shannon
has the dad? She's the one that's going on the
no. Shannon Doherty was fucking Brody's old lady.
Yeah. Like whatever. She like but him the main dude and his girlfriend, like they're just pretentious and like I hate those two
and
characters.
I know we were talking about this the other night that like you really didn't like Ben Affleck in that flick.
In that movie, yeah. Like it just seems so like his scenes, like, and I think you're responsible as well. Maybe Kevin just shot it that way to like make it seem like on purpose.
I
But that,
genuinely think it was.
you think so? Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't. It's just so
because
like the scene. There's
like
a scene where. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say real quick, like you look at him in Goodwill, obviously, which is what he got known for, and then compare it to Mallrats. Like it's not even the same actor. But like
That's
I was
true.
telling you the other night, I genuinely think Kevin wrote it that way and told him to act it that way on purpose, just to be
Yeah.
as douchey and fucking cringy as possible, because he had to be someone that everybody hated, because he fucked girls in uncomfortable places like the back of a Volkswagen.
I guess that's a good point. Like the scene where he beats up Brody. I'm like, this
You're
stinks.
so ugly you
like,
could be a modern
and Brody's
art
like
masterpiece.
he's playing it so much better than Ben is. And I guess that's a good point, because not long after he did Mallrats, he did Chasing Amy, and Ben Affleck's 1,000 times better in Chasing Amy
Oh yeah.
than he was in Mallrats.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
I'm trying to
with Shu real quick with the 500 bits. So this is what the military talks about. Interesting. Actually, the military talks about a whole lot more fucking vile, retarded
mostly
shit.
pussy.
Yeah.
Mostly pussy.
Mostly vagina or beaten off, or what the best method is to beat off.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
so
You
on.
give yourself
Well-
a stranger.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
Yeah.
it's
I
not
was gonna say,
tactics
good
in terms. It's not tactics in terms of movement, unless you're talking about how to move your hand across your dick to come quicker.
I
That's
was
pretty
gonna
much
say
it.
a good way to figure out what the military talks about. Watch the movie Jarheads. He sums it up pretty much,
yeah,
and basically
that
like
movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
how to jerk off. This that. Report to the Marine is given all this stuff like that. Use this to left or right-handed masturbation. This all this other shit.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Watch that. You get the gist of what they talk about.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was gonna ask, because I actually don't recall if my wife. Do you like Mallrats? Did you like Clerks? Because I don't think
I
we've ever
actually
watched it together.
I never seen Mallrats, but I did like
How
Clerks.
dare you?
I know.
You know
I'm
what the
over
fuck
here
you guys
like,
are doing tonight?
Well, it's not like now with. I would say that Clerks are not Clerks. Well, Clerks and Mallrats, like they'd be hard to watch now. I think. Like
No,
if
not
someone.
at all.
Well, yeah, because you love those films, but I love those films too. I just feel like Clerks, especially Clerks, is like really slow. Like it takes a long time to get there, but
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Clerks. Yeah, Clerks. I could see being pretty difficult to watch. Mallrats, still, the pacing of the humor is a lot faster.
Yeah. Well, it was a good choice for him to open with Jason Lee's scene. Where
Oh,
he's playing
absolutely.
he wakes up playing. Does it open with Jason Lee's scene, or does it open with the other one, with the other couple? I can't remember.
I think the one, because there's two versions of it. I think the one version, the director's cut or whatever, opens with them when he's wearing all the reenactment gear and all of that shit. And then I think the theatrical version opens with Jason Lee playing NHL.
And sleeping. Yeah, he's sleeping, and she wakes him up.
Yeah.
And then he immediately starts playing Sega again.
Yeah,
And she's
exactly.
like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, that's a great scene. That's a great way to start the film.
Oh yeah, and that's, like I said, just the pacing of the humor is a lot better, and you can tell, in terms of writing, how much better he got with Mallrats, and
Well-
just the. And again, Jason Lee he made that movie. He delivers all of those lines so fucking well. Like, when he's talking about the fucking stink palm, like, I don't fucking care if you're 15 or 50. It's fucking funny.
That's funny. Yeah. You stink palm him. Scrub
Yeah.
all you like. It'll stay there for at least 2 days. How will he explain himself to his family and his coworkers? But yeah, I think for me, like, maybe because that movie, like, that movie is a very 90s movie, and
Yeah.
I didn't really watch, like, it's like a teenager movie, it's like for young
Mhm.
people, and I really didn't watch movies like that, like She's All That and fucking, I don't know, what are the other ones that were like those the young people movies that were big in the 90s? I didn't watch none of them. She's All That's the only one I can think
Shit,
of.
I don't know. What's the fucking
I can't think of anything.
the one
uh,
fucking joke one that had fucking Chris Evans in it? That one made me laugh
Not
my
another teen
ass off.
movie?
Yeah, that one.
But that was like
That
in
was so
2002,
funny.
though. I think that was like after
Oh,
American
those were
Pie.
pretty good. Yeah.
That was like American Pie was like the epitome of all that.
What was the one with what's her name? Julia Stiles or whatever, the chick that's in the Bourne movies now, and Heath Ledger. When he sings on the bleachers, that
fucking
one was
movie
popular as
that-
fuck.
What 10 Things I Hate About
Yeah,
You?
that
She-
movie was
dude,
popular as
Dude,
fuck.
she fucking loves that movie.
What? No, I don't.
10 Things I Hate About You. Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. Which one is that?
That's the one where she makes the one where she tries to make him dump her.
No, that's
Or is that with McConaughey?
yeah, that's with McConaughey in it. Um,
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's
what
right.
is it? How to
God,
Lose
I
a Guy in
can't
10
remember the
Days?
name of it.
Isn't that it?
Yes,
How to Lose
that's
it? Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other movie is 10 Things I Hate About You, right?
Yeah, that's it.
With Heath Ledger. I
Yeah,
didn't
with
see
Heath
that one.
Ledger in it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of along those styles, though. Definitely. I mean, it was definitely a romantic comedy. I don't think a lot of people necessarily realized that Mallrats is a romantic comedy,
Yeah.
but it definitely is. It just has dick and fart jokes in it.
Yeah.
You know.
I kind of skipped over all the parts with what I do that do with what the fuck is his name? But I just cared about the parts with Jason Lee and with Jay and Bob and all, like that's all the LaFleur shit. That's really funny. When
Yeah.
they're trying to
In the
when they're
fucking
trying to-
sailboat.
It's a scooter.
It's a scooter.
You dumb bastard.
I've always loved that guy. After
He played-
American History X,
Yeah,
because
he
he's
played
just
Tuna in
Oh,
Blow.
that was a good movie.
like he did, yeah, and he was in Blow, but he played such a good part in American History X. Like I've known people like that. I've legit known people like that in my life, and it was so funny to see like those two sides because he was such a big lovable fucking guy in Mallrats, and you like felt bad for him. They're just sitting there staring at this fucking picture for hours and hours trying to figure out what it is, or like when they beat the shit out of that Easter bunny, and all the kids are crying.
I know, but I know what that guy goes through though, because those fucking hidden image puzzles, I can't do them. They don't work on me. I can't fucking figure them out. I could never make the thing come out. So I've been in his position where you're just like, what
It's
the
all
fuck
about
are people?
fucking super good fucking depth perception.
Yeah.
Like that's why it's always weird colors and shit like that. Like that's
TS.
TS. That
Stupid.
yeah.
And
That's
his girlfriend's name is Brandy. Dude, that's the worst couple. They belong together. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
Like they deserve to be together. They're both pretentious and fucking like snarky and like, ugh. Maybe that's why like Mallrats doesn't resonate with me as well as like Chasing Amy is like a film that I kind of like everything about that film. Jay and
yeah,
Silent
you
Bob,
actually got me into that movie.
yeah, that was one of the
And what's another good movie? Zach and
Zach and
Mary.
Mary, yeah.
the movie that
Yeah.
nobody watched.
God,
Yeah,
they
right?
should have though. It was such a
Yeah.
great film.
Well, I
But-
guess
Yeah, it was.
it's a good time to segue, I guess. Into
Well,
Chasing
because
Amy.
after he did Mallrats, he then went into Chasing Amy after Mallrats, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. And then after that was Dogma. So,
Yeah, and then into Dogma, which was kind of like at the end of Dogma for anybody that hasn't seen it. I guess I mean it's not giving anything away. It's a fucking old movie. But at the end of Dogma, Alanis Morissette comes out. Alanis Morissette plays God in Dogma, and at the very end, she comes out and there's this gigantic book with a bookmark in it, like a red piece of string. And she closes the book and it says View Askew or View Askew a
You
verse.
askew in verse.
Yeah, whatever. On the front of it. And that's what all of those movies were kind of was under this View Askew verse. And so everybody thought, oh, okay, so that's the last of these movies we'll see with any of these characters. You know, we're not going to see Jason Lee anymore. We're not going to see Muse anymore. You know, we're not going to see any of these people in any of these characters anymore. And then Jay and Silent Bob comes out, and that was huge. And then after Jay and Silent Bob, which again was like the biggest movie he had done at the time, you know, I mean, it had fucking big people in it. Will Ferrell was in it. Fucking Mark Hamill was in it.
Chris Rock
Yeah.
had a little cameo. That's
Fucking,
one of
Carrie
the
Fisher was in it too.
That's one of Carrie Fisher was in it. She was the nun that
Yeah.
Jay
Yeah.
goes down
Oh
on.
yeah.
so good.
Carlin's in it.
Um,
Judd Nelson's in it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like all of our childhood fucking favorites, and then oh shit, what's his
Biggs
name?
and,
Yeah, Jason Biggs
Biggs
was
and
in
Jon
it.
Vanderbeek.
Stewart's in it.
Yeah, John Stewart's in it,
Matt Damon, Ben Affleck,
and then
Yeah.
oh fuck, what's his name from Dawson's Creek? The
Vanderbeek.
crying
Oh
bastard.
God, I forgot that guy's name.
Vanderbeek. Yeah, Vanderbeek.
Mhm.
So yeah, they play Jay and Silent Bob, Vanderbeek and Biggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that whole series, like to me, I consider that all kind of one chapter, I guess, of the Kevin Smith stuff. When you go from like Clerks to Jay and Silent Bob, like that's all one chapter to me. There isn't like they're all the same characters and things like that. And then after Jay and Bob, it was silent for a long time. Like he didn't do anything for quite a while after Jay and Bob. And then after Jay and Bob, he started. That's when he started doing a lot of the Q&A stuff, and like I was talking about earlier, I was lucky enough to fucking go see one of those. And there's actually a really funny story from the one we were at. I showed Loster the video of it the other night.
where he signs his ass.
Yeah.
What? Oh, that's awesome.
And he's talked about it a couple of times on like different Q&As and stuff like that. And I very specifically remember one Q&A. Someone had asked him, "What's the craziest thing a fan has ever, offered to do or asked you to do or whatever?" And he was like, "Well, I wish it was that they offered to suck my dick, but they never do." He's like, "Actually, the craziest thing that ever happened," he's like, "I was doing a Q&A in Ann Arbor, and this guy came up to the mic and asked if I would sign his arm because he wanted to get my signature tattooed on his arm." And I was like, "Dude, if you're going to do it, like, don't be a bitch. Let me sign your ass and get it tattooed on your ass." And the guy said, "Okay." And I was like, "All right, well, get up here." And I didn't think, I thought he was just going to turn around and, walk away and do the walk of shame. But he beelined to the stage. And the dude
Holy
did. Like, he
shit.
basically ran to the stage and climbed up on the stage with Kevin Smith. And, like, he bent over the chair that was sitting up there and pulled his pants down. And Kevin Smith signed his ass cheek. And sure as shit, as soon as that show was over, the dude went to a tattoo shop a couple blocks away and got his signature tattooed on his ass cheek and sent Kevin Smith a picture of it. And
Wow.
like I say, he's talked about it a couple of
Wow.
times, and he says that's the craziest thing he's ever had a fan do is signing that guy's ass, and I was there for it. So I got to see a dude get his ass signed by Kevin Smith. I know, fucking lucky.
Jesus.
So what was?
We're stepping back to we were on Chasing Amy at that right now. I guess we were gonna
Yeah. So
go in it.
So going to Chasing Amy, which again is kind of still part of that first chapter, if you will, of his stuff. Chasing Amy, I was a huge fan of. Like both of those kind of more serious, not super serious, but a little bit more serious movies that he did, being Chasing Amy and Jersey Girl.
Yeah.
God, I love those fucking movies, both of them.
Yep.
Like Jersey Girl is definitely one of my favorites. Again, a lot of that is due to Carlin and Carlin playing more of a serious role, which you'd never seen Carlin do before. But I could definitely believe him as like that funny grandpa, that everybody wants to hang out with, because that's who he was to me. Like I wanted him to be a part of my family, like someone I could go hang out with and, gain knowledge from. So that's a huge reason why I love Jersey Girl. But what for you guys, like what made you guys like Chasing Amy so much?
Well, I know my wife. She watched it because I made her watch it.
Right?
So that was
Forceful enjoyment, damn it. You will sit
Okay,
down
so-
and like it.
I started watching Chasing Amy in high school. So it was like 03, I think, is when I finally got to see it.
Hmm.
And So yeah, 03, 04, and I was in a relationship with who now would be my ex-wife. We started dating in high school, and Chasing Amy for me was like so. So for those of you who don't know, Chasing Amy is a movie about Ben Affleck and Jason Lee, and they're best friends. And Ben Affleck and Jason Lee made a comic book based on Jay and Silent Bob, and they turned Jay and Silent Bob into characters like superheroes, basically.
It's the
Like Bill,
characters that you meet in Jay and
yeah,
Silent Bob. When they go talk to Ben Affleck about
yeah,
their shit being made into a movie, that's Ben Affleck's character from
right.
Chasing Amy.
Right. So they throughout the course of this, Ben Affleck's character meets what's her name? The
Oh,
chick.
Jesus, I can't fucking remember.
She's got the sexy, raspy voice.
Oh, damn it.
Actually, I got it right here on
You'd have to look it up.
IMDb. Her name is blah 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 blah. Fuck, where is she? Why is she not at the top of the fucking list for the cast?
What?
On IMDb, she's Alyssa. Here you go, Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah, Joey Lauren Adams, that's it. She was
Okay.
also in Mallrats. So if you guys see
Yeah.
Mallrats, the chick
get
that
to see her.
flashes
the camera.
that
When
flashes Kevin Smith when he comes through the fucking
You can see her
thing,
boobs.
yeah, it's Joey Lauren Adams, who was
Yeah.
fucking hilarious. Like I loved her in Mallrats and in Chasing Amy.
Yep. So, anyways, Ben Affleck meets Joey Lauren Adams, and he like has a crush on her, but then he finds out she's gay. But for some reason, he just won't give up on her, and he keeps
Well,
hanging
he's
out with her.
convinced that he can
Yeah.
convert her.
Yeah.
And fucking the entire time, Jason Lee's like fucking like this is what you need to do.
She just needs some good deep dicking,
Yep.
according to Jason. That's what all women need.
She needs the D.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That's the cure. But yeah.
That
so,
line, by the way, was said so goddamn much after that movie came out. Like she just needs a good deep dicking.
So, anyways, Ben Affleck convinces Joey. I'm just gonna keep saying Joey, whatever. Convinces her to fall in love with him, and they start dating. And then Ben Affleck finds out through Jason Lee that she has a very spotty kind of scandalous past, where she like fucked a couple guys at the same time. She was basically like a whore in high school and college, and she fucked like everything that moved. And Ben Affleck was under the impression that she was a lesbian her whole life, and this fucks him up. And their relationship kind of falls apart. And on top of that, Ben Affleck's relationship with Jason Lee kind of falls apart because of his relationship with Alyssa. So for me, this movie resonates with me like insanely because there's a scene in Chasing Amy where the
Oh,
conflict.
I remember that scene.
Yeah.
Was it in a parking lot?
Yeah, in the parking lot for the hockey
Yeah.
game, for Ben Affleck and Joey's character have this big blowout finally.
Yeah, where they have the big fight.
Yeah, that's been building up for a while, but it finally comes to a head. And Ben can't like wrap his mind around this chick's past. And that happened to me because my ex-wife was kind of a whore in high school, and I'd found out about all this shit. And to be honest with you, I was kind of okay with it. But then once I started dating her, I'm like, what the fuck is she doing with me? I felt exactly the way that Ben Affleck felt. Is that I just want us to be something we can't be, and that's a normal couple. Like I don't feel good enough for you. I don't feel. I'll never. You've done shit that I can never ever compete with. So why the fuck are you hanging out with me for? Like what is?
Right.
And that's kind of the whole theme of that movie. And I guess that's why Chasing Amy just means so much to me because very rarely does a movie like a film come along that like just grabs you like on a personal level that just means so much to you. And Chasing Amy is just one of those films that does it for me. I love that movie from start to finish.
Yeah, I remember like a lot of people, specifically like the lesbian community, getting super fucking pissed off at Kevin Smith over that movie because they thought like he was advocating like dudes fucking trying to tell lesbians that all they needed was a good deep dicking and stuff.
How dare you?
And he was like, my brother is fucking gay. Like I love any homosexual people. Like the entire movie is dedicated to making Jason Lee's character look like a fucking idiot.
Right. Jason Lee is that guy. Jason Lee's the fucking idiot, like straight guy that doesn't understand gay people and just thinks that it's all like bullshit
It's
and
a
horseshit.
choice.
Right. And the whole film is like it's angled to make Jason Lee look like a fucking retard. Especially the scene where Ben Affleck finally blows up at Jason Lee.
Yeah.
He's like, show some goddamn respect. Like she's my fucking girlfriend. Like what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And the whole here we have $100 bill. We have a we have we have
Well,
a Easter bunny, a Santa Claus.
The thing to me with Chase and Amy, like why I dug it so much was that relationship between Affleck's character and Jason Lee's character, because we've all had those buddies that, you know, you're so close to, they're a fucking brother, and you know, you look at them sometimes and you're like, how in the fuck do I even associate with you? Like, what the actual fuck is wrong with you? And so, like, when they do have that big blowout fight, Affleck and Jason Lee's character, like, that shit was brutal for me because I've had those fights before with friends, like, even over a female. And that shit was, like, heart-wrenching to me. Even though this movie is, again, a romantic comedy, basically, like, that to me was like, holy fuck, dude, that's real as fuck. Like, I've had basically that exact fucking conversation before with someone. And then, so, Nichols, have you ever even seen Chase and Amy?
I have.
Okay. So did you get that impression watching it? Like, did you feel like fucking Kevin Smith was like attacking lesbians in that movie?
Fuck no. To me, it more is attacking the exact opposite. Because knowing Kevin Smith and knowing everything that he does is kind of a satire,
Right.
or has some other deeper meaning. Like, for example, Dogma is kind of an attack on religion and how kind of idiotic it can be, and how idiotic it can be. Knowing that about him, it was the exact opposite. It wasn't so much as the attack on homosexual people as it was more the closed-minded heterosexual people that don't understand that gay and lesbian people don't do it as a choice. That is how we are born, and that it's just how we are.
Right, and like
they don't understand. And to me, it was more of a rallying call movie to stand up and be like, hey,
yeah, don't let your dumbass friends say dumbass things.
Yeah, people need to watch this to understand that that guy's a fucking idiot. He's closed-minded and obviously is being led around by propaganda of a homophobic nature.
Yeah, and just ignorance in general.
Yeah, ignorance. And it's more to me that this movie was that kind of a wake-up call for people who have that ignorance to really see that that's not how it is. You can't just say that this woman is missing out. She's only with women because she doesn't know, she hasn't met the right man, or yada yada yada.
Or she doesn't know better, blah blah.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that was crazy to me with Chase and Amy is, with Jason Lee playing that character who, like you said, is basically led by ignorance. It was so weird because you look at Mallrats. Like, if you really look at Mallrats, the character of Brody is not necessarily the smart one, because he does, fuck up his own relationship at the start. But he's the one that basically is telling TS, like, dude, pull your fucking head out of your ass. Like, stop being a fucking idiot and take care of this shit. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's the one that went to Stanley's, or that got the information basically from Stan Lee and finally realized himself, oh shit, I'm being an idiot, and repaired his own shit. But yeah, he was kind of the voice of reason in that movie. And then to go into Chasing Amy and make him the complete opposite, like it was just really cool to me. So then after Chasing Amy, he did, I believe Jersey Girl
Dogma.
was...
No,
oh no, Dogma was next, yeah.
Dogma, yeah.
So Dogma, again, I already kind of touched on why Dogma was huge for me. Again, Carlin being in it, playing a priest, having the views that he did on religion, and a lot of people took Dogma as like an all-out attack against all religion, when
Right.
at
And
no point
again,
in
it
time
wasn't.
it wasn't an attack on all religion. It was just an attack on how ludicrous organized religion can be, and
Mhm.
how out of hand it can all get when it's very, very basic. And even
Yeah.
when uh Rickman's character goes and talks to fucking what's her nuts, he basically lays down how basic it all is. uh the Medicus, wasn't that his name? I think. Shit, I can't remember.
I can't remember. I only
uh
saw it like once, so
oh god, Dogma's
this is
one of the
this the
best,
one.
man.
It's the one Kevin Smith movie that I just never took the time to just watch from start to finish and like learn anything about.
Really?
Yep, I never seen. I've never. I don't think I've ever seen Dogma from start to finish.
Huh.
It's so damn good. Like, Affleck and Damon's
Yeah, it
characters in
really
it
is.
are outstanding, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
Chris Rock is so fucking funny in that movie, man.
Mhm.
Like, the whole scene when they're at movies and Chris Rock is talking about Muse and how he fucking jerks off more than any human alive, and he was like, yeah,
And
tell
you
me
think
something
about
on.
guys.
Yeah, he's like, tell me something I don't know. He's like, when you do it,
When
you
you
think
do
about
it, you
guys.
think about guys.
The Metatron, that's it.
Metatron, yeah.
And yeah, Rickman was in it. Like, I mean, of course, anybody that fucking grew up worshiping fucking Hans Gruber, like, to see
Oh,
Rickman in it
fuck.
was like, oh,
Hans!
hell yeah. And
Oh, we talk about Bruce Willis too during all this. Great.
yeah, no shit, we
Yeah.
can, yeah.
That guy's
Yeah.
And Jason Lee was the bad guy in it, and again, Jason Lee's fucking outstanding.
Oh, great.
And then, but the best part of everything for me was, again, Carlin being a Catholic priest and the use of Buddy Christ. Like, so many people got pissed off about Buddy Christ. I shit you not, you guys.
Thumbs up.
When years and years
That smile. That smile,
Yes.
too.
years and
Oh
years
my
ago,
God.
when I first got out of high school, me and a bunch of buddies lived together. There was 6 of us living in a house together. It was basically a fucking frat house. Okay. And at one point in time, my nephew came and stayed with me. He was living with me for, I don't know, little over a year or so. And my one nephew is only a little bit younger than me. It's a weird situation. But anyways, he was like 17 at the time, or maybe even 18 at the time. So he's basically a fucking adult. And he slept on our couch because we didn't have a fucking spare bedroom. Like I said, there's 6 fucking dudes living in this house. And so we used to we'd make him eat on like little kid plates and stuff like that, and because he was the youngest guy in the house. And we had a Buddy Christ statue that sat on a shelf
God,
above the
yes.
TV.
Oh my God, no.
And
Yes.
Buddy,
Yes.
Buddy Christ sat there and watched us, everything that we were doing when we were sitting in the living room. Buddy Christ kept an eye on us. And it was a huge, running joke in the house because all of us were huge Kevin Smith fans. And we used to always tell my nephew, we're like, look, do whatever the fuck you please, but if you're going to jerk off, you turn Buddy Christ around so he doesn't have to watch that shit. He doesn't have to be subjected to that.
Great.
That's awesome.
So he would always think it was funny at night, like we'd all go to bed or whatever, and he'd like fucking wake up, or he'd still be up, and he'd go turn Buddy Christ around and leave it there until morning. So we'd all wake up and come downstairs, and Buddy Christ is fucking staring at the wall, and we're like, oh yeah, fucking nephew was watching fucking rated R TV again. What'd we tell you about that?
He's watching
yeah,
Showtime.
those were fun times. We used to fucking, we'd make them leave the room if we were watching like fucking anything TVMA. We're like, yeah, you're not old enough for this. You need to step out of the room.
Oh, man.
We bought him a rape kit that consisted of just a rape whistle and a pamphlet. There was like some pamphlet that we found online of like how to avoid rape or some shit. So that was his like joke Christmas gift one year, was that he got this fucking rape kit, and we put it in like a first aid, a little hard plastic first aid kit. And we're like, here you go, this is your rape kit. You take it with you everywhere you go. But yeah, we had a lot of fun times during all that. But yeah, we did. We legit had a fucking Buddy Christ statue sitting on a shelf in our house for quite a few years. So yeah, I would say Dogma was a pretty big fucking movie in our lives. And I love the idea of Buddy Christ, and I loved how much it pissed off the Catholic Church that he
That
like
was great.
defaced
awesome.
Jesus. And the whole, like movies like being worshipped as a false god and this and that, and the
scene with
satire
the
of it.
execs,
Yeah.
scene with the execs, goes around, kills all of them,
Mhm.
and then the one person, like, you have not done anything wrong, but
Oh,
you didn't say
yeah.
God bless you when I sneezed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so good. And then, so, I mean, yeah, Loster, you need to watch Dogma at least a couple more times.
Yeah, you really need to. It's awesome.
It-
You watch Dogma, I watch Mallrats. Deal.
Yeah,
You have no choice.
Yeah, you guys got shit going on tonight. All right, you're gonna be fucking watching a couple movies tonight because
Yep.
you need to get Dogma. Loster, you need to get fucking, or Loster needs to get Dogma. Rain, you need to get down on some fucking Mallrats. That's for damn sure. And the funny thing is, I forgot to mention with Mallrats, one of the big reasons that it kind of resonated with me is here in Flint, we've always had two malls. There's the Genesee Valley Mall, which is like the big, nice mall, that's got all the stores and the food court upstairs and this and that. And then there's the Dort Mall, which we all called the Dirt Mall.
It is shocking
It's-
how much of a shithole city you live in is same fucking like Buffalo and Flint, Michigan.
That's the thing is,
Are the same
Kevin Smith
Yeah,
also
yeah,
had the
it
same
really
thing
is.
because he was in Jersey. It's very relatable. So like when he's talking, they're at the mall and then they're gonna go. Didn't they even call it the Dirt Mall in
Yeah, they called it
Mallrats?
the
Yeah.
flea market.
Yeah.
was the dirt mall.
And yeah, we had the same, and we called it the Dirt Mall because it was on Dort. It was the Dort Mall. So we called it the Dirt Mall because it was the fucking, the shitty mall in the area. So like seeing that, it was like, holy fuck, dude, we have the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did Dogma and then Jersey Girl after that, I believe.
No, well, there's Dogma. It's Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike
Oh
Back.
yeah. Yep.
Jersey Girl, and then Clerks 2.
Yep. And the thing is, like, we've already talked about Jay and Silent Bob a little bit, and why that was a big hit and everything, and a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people did like it, but Jersey Girl was like universally fucking hated by a lot of people, which I didn't understand.
It's because you know why? Because you don't subscribe to that whole like that mainstream Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez
I didn't give a shit.
They did movies together, but Benifer is what their
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
relationship
I
name
know,
was.
like I had heard about Geely. I knew how bad that went. I had never watched it, so I had no idea. I'm sure it was a horrible fucking movie. But I had never seen it, so I didn't go into Jersey Girl with any malcontent or anything like, fuck these people, they made this horrible movie. I went into it as a Kevin Smith fan who also loves fucking George Carlin being in a movie, and Affleck. Like I'm still at that time, even now, I'm still a huge Affleck fan. He was the bomb in Phantoms, So I didn't understand the hate to it because I took it as its own standalone movie, not fucking Ben Affleck and fucking Jennifer Lopez love making.
Yeah, well, even though she's barely in it. I mean, she dies like in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Tyler takes
She's
over that.
not even in the fucking movie, really.
Yeah. And the movie's not, it's not about Ben and Jennifer. It's about Ben and his daughter. It's about Ben and this relationship that he's trying to
and
have
the kid
with his
that
daughter.
they had play his daughter was so good. Like, she was fucking awesome for a child actor.
I like that movie.
Yeah, I loved Jersey Girl.
I'm so happy that him and like Kevin Smith and Carlin got to be friends and work together right before he died.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish Carlin was still here, but I wish they would have been able to do more shit together before Carlin passed. Like, could you have imagined Carlin being in Red State? Like, that would have been fucking outstanding.
Yeah. Like one of the family members.
Yeah,
like
if he would have been able to have
Michael Parks' character.
fucking John Goodman and George Carlin in Red State, Fucking
Oh
hell.
my
Jeez.
god.
Or even have, like, if Carlin would have been able to be in Clerks 2, like, working at
Oh, that would be
movies, like, he was the
awesome.
fucking old retired dude that works at the fast
Yeah,
food place, you
like
know?
Abe Vigoda was in Good Burger.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like, that would have been a
is that
perfect role
like
for him.
is that fucking Tessio working at Good Burger? What the fuck?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, applesauce, bitch. How do you like them apples? I actually just watched Good Will Hunting a few weeks ago because I was fucking craving some Robin Williams in a dramatic role. Um, yeah, that shit like fucking breaks my heart every time
Yeah.
when he's
Well,
like talking about his wife and shit.
yeah. Well, yeah. I guess dramatic. Yeah. That and the only like he played a really good bad guy in what was that? Sleep, Amnesia or not Amnesia? Insomniac. Him and Al Pacino.
Oh
They're
yeah, yeah,
like in Alaska. It's like it's daylight for like 30 days straight or some shit.
yeah. And then he was all creepy as fuck in what was that
1 hour
one?
photo.
Yeah, 1 hour photo.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, Jersey Girl. I mean, I dug that movie. I didn't. A lot of people hated it. Like he took a lot of bashing for Jersey Girl. Uh, what's the word I'm looking here for? Like unjustifiable bashing. Like that
Yeah.
movie was not bad in
No, it
any
wasn't
way. Like that was a great flick, dude. And then he moved on to Clerks 2, which there's actually a whole documentary about Clerks 2 called Back to the Well, the making of Clerks 2, which I've watched a fuck ton of times.
It's on YouTube. I actually never seen that. It's on YouTube. I want to watch
Oh,
it.
dude.
I was trying to like refresh myself in preparation for this podcast, and I was watching a bunch of clips from all the films, and that came up. And I'm like, oh fuck, I don't have time to watch this. It's like an hour and a half long.
Yeah, it came as one of the extras on the DVD. Um, there's like fucking a few hours worth of extras. Even the commentary tracks over Clerks 2 is outstanding. I love both of them. They did two different commentary tracks for it. But yeah, the making of again, it's called Back to the Well, the making of Clerks 2. It's so good because you get a little peek into the mindset of Kevin and why he went back to that universe and back to those characters and how he felt just so beat the fuck up after Jersey Girl and wanting to do something small with his people and how he wanted to do it, because there was a lot of shit in Jersey Girl he didn't really get a say in because it was big actors, it was big money. Him and Moj didn't get choices in that. So to go back to something that was his and something that was small in relation, I think the budget for Clerks 2 was like 15 million or something like that, which was relatively small compared to most movies.
Right. Like 60 mil, I think, is your average.
Right.
60,
And
70.
you talk like fucking Marvel movies, you're talking over 100 mil. So that documentary is absolutely outstanding. It takes you through everything from the inception, him writing, all the way up through the release and going back to Cannes with Clerks 2 and that whole process and the like 8-minute standing ovation they got at Cannes and stuff, which was really cool to see. Great documentary. Probably one of the best making of documentaries, especially for a Kevin Smith film, because he's done multiple making of documentaries, like the one I was telling you about the other day, Popcorn Porn, the making of Zack and Miri, which is another great one. He's done a few of them, but that's the one for Clerks 2 is my favorite. And Clerks 2, like, holy fuck, man. That was just
they pulled
like,
out all the stops.
yeah,
On that one.
to me,
Yeah, that movie's fantastic.
obviously,
I saw that in theaters. I couldn't. I saw that. I think I saw that twice in theaters. I fucking love that movie.
yeah. And that's like obviously the first Clerks will always hold a special spot for me. But in terms of just as a movie, Clerks 2 is my favorite movie that he's ever done. In terms of, not taking history and all of that into account and personal ties to it, Clerks 2, best movie he's done. Like, holy fuck, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reminded of something. The fact that so Clerks, and Clerks 2, like they take place in basically one area. Like
Mhm.
it's one location. like 95% of the movie is like in one location.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
I
only
rem-
time they leave movies in Clerks 2 is when they go to the go-kart track. The only time
Go-karts, yeah.
they leave the quick stop or TT video or whatever in Clerks
for the
1 is
funeral.
when they go to the funeral.
And then Randall leaves to go to Big Time Video. He leaves his
Yeah, and
job
just
at
goes
the
next
video
door.
store to
Or
rent.
yeah, when he goes to rent movies, yeah.
He basically
Yeah,
leaves
yeah.
his job to go to Blockbuster to rent
Yeah.
to rent movies. But I'm reminded of like Kevin Smith's really good at like taking that small, like he managed to like imagine like if he spent 90 minutes at a fast food joint, like you'd see everything pretty quickly.
Mhm.
But he manages to take this, well, I think it's a little over 90 minutes, and like use every part of the location. That reminds me, like when Tarantino did that for Hateful Eight, like that whole film takes place inside
Yeah.
of one cabin,
Mhm.
and like you forget that sometimes that hey, this is only one room. Like
Well,
there's no.
to me, I liken it a lot to a play. Like I don't know how many theatrical plays any of you guys have ever seen, but
Quite.
it's a lot
I've seen
like
a
that.
few.
Cats.
Not
That's a
all.
musical.
No, Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. Yeah.
Not all plays change set pieces, or when they do, because you can go to a play that's fucking 3-4 hours long,
Oh yeah.
and they change set pieces once. So you're sitting there staring at the same thing for 2 hours, but in reality you're not. Those set pieces are exactly what they are. They're background. They generally don't play that big of a role in what's actually going on. You're
A good
there to
example-
watch the acting.
A good example of that is Julius Caesar. Since most
Yeah.
of it takes
Oh,
place in
yeah.
Rome,
Yeah.
they just have a generalization of Roman architecture in the background, and it doesn't ever really change ever until near the end when they're on the battlefield, and then it changes to like a little bit of a tenting kind of thing. But it's that exact thing that it literally doesn't change for 99.99% of the play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but quite a few of the the huge plays like that are like that, because when those plays were written, they were very simple. They didn't have necessarily the same capabilities that they do now. Like, even granted, newer productions are always bumping things up and making things more interesting, but like older productions of like Hamlet and stuff like that, like I've watched the old I've watched tapes of oh god damn it, what were they called, the god damn it, all the huge British actors. They were in like this huge guild of theater actors, like Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart,
The
all of those guys.
Newsboys? No, not the Newsboys.
No,
No.
damn it, I can't remember the name
Hold
of it.
on.
But I've watched old productions of that, old tapes of Hamlet and things like that, and it's the same set piece for an hour and a half.
The Royal Shakespeare Company.
Royal Shakespeare Company. That's it. Duh. Fucking Shakespeare Company, Hamlet, so on. But yeah, it's, you're not watching the setting. You're watching the people. And that's, Tarantino is very good for that. Kevin Smith is very good for that. Even, Robert Rodriguez, kind of that trifecta of those guys are pretty similar in that sense, that it's more about the actors and what they're doing and what they're talking about and so on than what it is the set pieces and what's going on around them.
Yeah. Well,
Rodriguez not quite as much, but especially Kevin Smith and Tarantino.
Well, Rodriguez managed to stretch like a bar shootout scene in Desperado like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty impressive because that bar wasn't that big, but he
Yeah.
managed to stretch that out pretty far.
Oh, you got Cheech Marin there. He can do a lot of magic. But yeah, so Clerks 2, even like you said, because you see every aspect of that fucking restaurant. You see the lobby out front. You see, the tills at the counter. You see, the drive-through
lines.
window.
Yeah.
You see, the line for
grill.
food prep.
Yeah.
You see the fucking
see the
drive.
roof.
Yeah, you see the drive-through. You see
Manager's
the roof,
office.
the manager's office, and so on. And I have to say, like that. Again, in that documentary about the making of, they're talking about how they basically came about getting Rosario Dawson to play her character in the movie, and that, Harvey had given them a list of like 5 names, probably women that he had all seen fucking naked on his casting
Probably,
couch.
yeah.
And he gave him a list of like 5 names of his recommendations, and Rosario Dawson was the last one. And she was the last one they went to because everybody else turned it down. Everybody else turned it down. And Rosario Dawson read the script in like 45 minutes and immediately said yes because of the assed mouth joke. She says
I thought it was because of the donkey show.
Or yeah, sorry, it was the donkey show.
Donkey show.
But she said in the documentary, like, that one thing, that donkey show, convinced her to do it because she was like, what other chance am I ever going to have to see a donkey show? Even though it wasn't a legit donkey show or anything like that, but that one little thing made her say yes to that movie. And she was fucking perfect, dude. Like, she was absolutely perfect in that role. And there's a part in that documentary when Kevin Smith was talking about when they did that scene on the roof and the Jackson 5 song comes on and, you know, they're up there dancing and stuff. And he's like, there's one shot that is in that where it's just focusing on, I think her name was Becky in the movie.
Becky, yes.
And he's like, there's one shot where it's focusing on Becky and she's just sitting there dancing, and then it cuts back to Dante and you can see him fall in love with her. And he's like, that's how the entire crew felt. You could not possibly not fall in love with Rosario Dawson in that moment. And I was
in general.
Yeah, true.
Like in Sin City.
And I was like, I can fucking totally believe that because I did. Like, I completely I was done. Like, I see that scene, the Jackson 5 song, fucking she's dancing and shit, and I was like, yep, I'd be done too, dude. I'd be fucking, yep, baby,
Game
sure.
over.
But that, again, it's weird that, to me, that Kevin Smith he's more so known for kind of the dick and fart and, you know, like small-minded humor, I guess, if you will. But when you really get into his movies, you realize, one, they're not just comedies. Like, a vast majority of his movies are romantic comedies. And fucking hell, there's, you know, serious shit that's being dealt with. It's just masked behind humor. You know, and
the final scene of Chasing Amy is like deep and it's sad, but there's funny. No, there's funny in there. Like, there's levity, but it's fucking sad.
And, like, you know, the end of Clerks, Misery comes on, and that's the song that I opened the podcast with tonight. And that song was huge at that point in time, especially with the, you know, almost kind of birth of the goth fucking woe is me type genre or whatever. And then, so, like, that was understandable. Like, the camera zooming out and these guys are, you know, dealing with whatever. And then when you get to Clerks 2, that scene in the jail when Dante and Randall have that huge fight, like, that is one of my favorite scenes of any movie. Because it's just two friends that genuinely fucking love each other and have this huge blowout fight, and Randall finally fucking snaps. The one guy who's got a joke for everything finally fucking snaps and is like, you know what, fuck you, this is what I would do. This is what we should do. And again, Kev talks about that in the documentary, that kind of look that Jeff Anderson gets on his face when he realizes, like, holy shit, yeah, that's what we should do. We should buy the Quick Stop and run it ourselves. And you see that look on Jeff Anderson when, you know, he was saying it just to be like, you know, fuck you, I can argue, you know, back with you, and then realizes, like, oh, holy shit, that's a good idea. That is what we should do. I love that whole scene.
And he's like trying to convince him that was it Becky? Is that Rosario's character's name?
Yep.
Well, why to stay with, you know, why you should stay here with Becky? Like, she's not trying to change you. She's not trying to stuff you inside of a box that you'll never fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of, like, really introspective, like, points that are made as to why Dante should stay. And, like, if I like that a lot, that Randall, like, you know, the whole film, the 95% of the movie, he's just a fucking idiot, you know, like, just making Anne Frank jokes and all this other shit and calling
as blind as Anne Frank.
calling wheelchair people Crippy Boy and all this other shit, and then like he gets like this super deep introspective like point across at the very end, and it's
Yeah, and
yeah.
the like again, the jokes from that movie and like the one-liners, it's a lot like Clerks, like try not to suck a dick on your way through the parking lot, or
37.
37. I'm 37.
In a row.
I'm 37. Yeah, that's the best. Like that is one of the best responses ever. My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks in a row.
Jeez, I didn't react like this when you told me how many girls you fucked. This is different. This is important. How many?
Or even, he likes to fuck girls in really uncomfortable places, like the back of a Volkswagen. Because that's the kind of fucking response that a smart ass friend would make,
Yep.
And even in Clerks, like with the fucking with the cock stain, when Wanda Sykes and Earthquake are getting ready to make their order, and she's like, the fuck is a cock stain? He's like, I don't know. You guys get them white girls who do all kinds of crazy stuff. You want to try a cock stain?
You want to do a cock stain?
They need to get some Mexicans back here. Mexicans just, put up a roof in 30 seconds.
Yeah, like that shit is so great. And then the running stuff, with the Lord of the Rings and the Star Wars stuff, and like I fucking hit you with earlier, there's only one return, and it's of the Jedi, not of the King. Shit like that going throughout the movie.
Even the fucking
so
trees
damn
walk
good.
in those movies.
And the fucking making the guy throw up when he comes in the office, he's like, I just made a Lord of the Rings nerd so mad he threw up or whatever.
Yeah, it was. Here's how the ending should have happened. When they're all happy and stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of that, should have just bricked right in front of his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
bricks right in front of his mouth.
Like Dante gets all the great fucking jokes throughout that entire movie, with exception to one.
It was Randall. Randall gets.
Jokes. Randall. And that was their buddy that played Kelly, the fucking donkey guy.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, cake.
Yeah.
Hey, fucko. It's interspecies erotica.
Interspecies erotica.
The line that made me laugh more than anything else is not just the line, but kind of the look on their faces too when they come out, or he comes out and everything starts going and stuff, and Randall's like, what the fuck, or whatever, and he's like, hey, Kelly can be a guy's name too.
Hey!
I laughed so fucking hard when that happened, and like they get the realization that like, holy shit, this dude is about to fuck a donkey in front of us.
He's gonna that ass.
And they just go with it. Like Randall goes back and sits down on top of the table and is just like, whatever. And then
Kelly could be a guy's name too.
Yeah.
Hey.
And then fucking oh shit, what's his face? The fucking nerd kid. Elias, yeah, like Elias over in the corner, like crying and jerking off. He's like, I'm so sorry, Jesus. It was just that the last 20 minutes of that movie is so fucking good. And even a little bit before that, like from the time they get back from the go-kart place and Becky's gone, like from there on, that movie is just absolute pure gold.
Yeah.
Because once that donkey show starts, you're laughing the entire time, and then you get to the jail and fucking, the dude gives the line, it's, hey fucko, it's interspecies erotica, which again makes you fucking laugh. And then they have this huge blowout fight, and Kevin does like the super unexpected thing where Silent Bob steps up and goes to give what is expected, the one piece of wisdom that Silent Bob gets in a movie, and he's just like,
do it.
I got nothing.
These are not the droids you're looking for. That's a deleted scene. These aren't the droids you're looking. I
got nothing. And that because I went and seen it in the theater as well a couple of times, and of course for a movie like that, like it's a bit of a cult movie, so you go into it knowing you're going to be seeing it with fans, and it's one of my best theater going experiences ever, because everybody was laughing at every single joke. And like when he
Oh
steps
yeah.
up, like you could almost collectively hear everybody hold their breath to wait and see what kind of knowledge bomb fucking Silent Bob was about to drop. And then it was just like, I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Everybody starts fucking rolling, dude.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite scenes of the entire movie for that reason, because I seen it with a crowd and everybody was like, oh, here it comes, and then nothing. It was
Yep.
like such a fucking tease, and it was great. I loved it. So yeah, Clerks 2 is, to me, the best movie he's done. Just in terms of, you know, how it looks, how it plays, so on. You know, he finally got to do his musical number, which I fucking loved because it had, you know, Jackson 5 in it, which I'm a fan
hell
of.
yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. And then from Clerks 2, he went on to what was after Clerks 2? Was Red State?
No, it was
It was
yes.
Zach and Mary.
Yeah, Zach and Mary.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, Zach and Mary. I still always think that's a fucking
Zach and Mary, Cop Out, Red State.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always think
but-
Zach and Mary is a Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen helped write it and all of that, but Kevin Smith was involved.
Yeah. Yeah. But quickly going back to Clerks 2, I think the best thing for me that came out of it was I think it was like junior year of high school or senior year of high school. So this is 2 years after the movie came out. A bunch of us in an animation class, we had this game that kind of went around, this flash game that went around, and we were all like sitting there, and instead of doing work, we'd play it near the end of the semester. Well, I put a name in there that I stole from Clerks 2. I'm not gonna say it because it's,
Pillow Pants?
No.
Pickle fucker.
No. Porch Monkey.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
And
We're
then-
bringing it back.
Yeah, we're bringing it back.
Yeah, bring it.
And one of my classmates, because it was a PvP game, so we were all killing each other, and I killed somebody, and then at the top of his lungs, one of my classmates is like, "Who the fuck is Porch Monkey?"
No.
Yeah,
My
when there's
teacher
no
just-
context, it looks a lot worse.
My teacher just like he perks up. He's like, "What the fuck did somebody just say?" It was so funny.
That was great. Like that scene of him sitting on the table when it says "Porch Monkey for Life" on the back of his shirt.
And the
And
cop
fuck-
walks in.
Yeah.
Porch Monkey.
That was so damn good. So yeah, he went from Clerks 2 to Zack and Miri, which I fucking love.
Oh,
God, I
love
love
it.
that
Yeah,
movie.
I
was
love
great.
that movie. That's awesome.
That movie to me is
I got-
that's my favorite movie that Seth Rogen is in.
I like the coffee
Main-
scene.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say that. I got the best laughs out of her.
You
That-
want-
that's,
you want-
that's,
what is
the,
it,
that's what I showed her. That's the scene
God
that I
damn
showed
it.
her to get her to watch
Yeah, it
that movie.
was.
He's like, can I get a cup of coffee? Black? He's like, can you wait a minute? White?
White.
Yeah. But
I
like
did-
that whole crew that's in that movie, because obviously they've done a bunch of movies together, and I like a lot of that crew that like Seth Rogen does shit with, especially the one kid, the little skinny fucker that was in Goon, that's got the maple leaf tattooed on his chest. I can't remember his name. He's funny as fuck. But I absolutely hate fucking James Franco. Like I can't stand that dude. He's got a super punchable face. So does his brother, because he looks just like him. But
Yeah.
that movie made me fucking love Seth Rogen, even more so than 40-Year-Old Virgin. I dug Seth Rogen in that flick, and even Elizabeth Banks. I liked her in that movie, and you know, just the idea of, you know, hey, we're fucking broke, our water's getting turned off. You know, like I've been in those exact situations before, and it's funny because I know people that have gone down that route and done like cam shows and stuff like that, and it is a way to make stupid good fucking money if you're, you know, unbashful and willing to do it. And it was so funny to see that in a film, and somebody's like, why don't we just make a porn? And it was like, wow, yeah, people actually fucking do that. But Zach and Miri, again, I mentioned it earlier. There's a making of documentary for that called Popcorn Porn, uh, and it's another one that's really fucking good. Like even even something as simple as how they made the shit shoot onto his face or onto his
The
chest,
dump
you know.
diarrhea onto Jeff Anderson's
Yeah,
face.
like
Yeah.
they made a compressed cannon that would shoot this mixture that they made to look like shit, and they called it the shit cannon. And like Jeff Anderson's like his I guess reward for going through that was that he got to shoot Kev with the shit cannon. After everything was done and over with, Kev let him shoot him with the shit cannon with all the little chunks of corn and shit in it. But that whole fucking movie, like, you can't help but laugh. Even when fucking, what's his name? The guy that played Superman the first time they tried to redo it, Brandon Roth or whatever. His character in that, and the kid that plays his fucking boyfriend that did the fucking, the college movie where they started their own college or whatever.
Justin Long.
Yeah, Justin Long. Like, that whole thing at the reunion and shit was so fucking funny. And, you know, him turning out to be gay and shit. Oh my god. I laughed my fucking ass off. I would say Zack and Miri is probably the movie I laughed the most at in terms of Kevin Smith movies. I probably laughed
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
during that than anything else. And then, what did he do after? So it was Zack and Miri, and then Cop Out, right?
And then
Cop
Red
Out.
State, and then
Yeah.
Tusk.
And then he also did like some bit parts in other movies. Like he had done, I don't remember if Catch and Release was post Cop Out. I think it might have been. Have
No,
any of
it
you
was
guys?
pre.
Okay, have any of you guys seen Catch and Release with
No.
No.
It's got fucking Timothy Olyphantastic, which is where joke came from Die Hard in that one. But it's got him and Jennifer, the chick
Garner.
from Alias. Yeah, Garner. That's it. It's such a good movie, man. Like, Kevin Smith isn't a huge role in it. He's one of the like supporting characters, but he's great in the movie. Like, he actually does acting. He actually speaks, and he's like the fat, lovable friend that, you know, drops a knowledge bomb here and there. And I loved him in that flick. And then he also played a character in Die Hard 4.
Yeah.
The shitty one.
The wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Warlock.
Warlock, yeah.
Yeah, the
Why'd you
Warlock.
bring a cop into my command center?
Yeah. And if you've never seen Kevin Smith talking about working on that movie, I highly, highly recommend it. Like, I'm not going to go through and paraphrase everything that he talks about with it, but my favorite part was when someone told him, oh yeah, we work on BWT around here. And he was like, BWT? I mean Bruce Willis? Yeah, Bruce Willis time. And when he talks about how Bruce Willis wanted to make changes to the movie or something like that, and the studio wouldn't let him or some shit like that, and he's talking to the head of the studio and says,
He's like, who else you got lined up to play John McClane?
Who else you got to play John McClane? Nobody? All right, that's what I thought. Like, that dude, I mean, he owns that franchise. Like, he is John McClane. You can't have Die Hard without Bruce Willis until he's fucking dead and gone.
Exactly.
But yeah, just the whole story that he has talking about working on Die Hard, and he even helped write a lot of the script for it, or rewrite some of the script for it.
Yeah.
It sounds like such a fucking nightmare, and why he you know, Bruce Willis was like one of his idols because, again, you know, he grew up watching Die Hard like a lot of us did. That's why he wanted to work with Alan Rickman.
And Moonlighters.
Yeah, and, you know, Hudson Hawk and shit. So he did Cop Out with Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan.
Yes.
And it was a funny fucking movie. Well, I'll say Tracy Morgan was funny. because
Yeah,
he's one of those people that are
Yeah,
just
Tracy Morgan
funny.
is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like anything he does is gonna be funny.
My name is Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, he's like
love
fucking
Tracy.
Kevin Hart. Like you can sit there and just
Yeah.
watch the guy eat a fucking bowl of cereal, and it's somehow gonna be funny. But
I'm
I-
legendary.
yeah, I got the distinct feeling, like even when I watched Cop Out, before I heard about all the troubles with Bruce Willis and him and Kevin Smith really not getting along and stuff, like I remember watching it and going like, this really doesn't feel like a Kevin Smith movie. This doesn't have. This is like Die Hard under a different name, basically.
Yeah.
And instead of Sam Jackson, they got Tracy Morgan, and that was pretty much it. So I mean, I liked Cop Out, but I've never looked at Cop Out as a Kevin Smith movie. Like to me, it's not a Kevin Smith movie. There's no semblance there of the witty dialogue and stuff that he's generally known for. Like there's some funny jokes.
He wasn't allowed to be himself.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
wasn't allowed to like make the movie he wanted to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like I said, there was some funny jokes, but a lot of that is Tracy Morgan. And again, you could have the guy reading a fucking dictionary and it's gonna be funny. So it didn't really matter what Kev wrote for that; he would make it funny just by his mannerisms and stuff like that.
That's a good point. Apple, Alabama.
Yes, see, exactly.
Acapulco.
So yeah, Cop Out, like I said, I dug it, but I personally don't really look at it as a Kevin Smith flick myself.
No, it's all basically Bruce Willis, because like they go
Bruce
on.
Willis.
It's Bruce Willis time.
Yeah.
It's everything that happens in any of his movies is basically dictated by him.
I will say the whole, and again, it's because Tracy Morgan is funny, but all this stuff with his wife and like worried about her cheating and this and that, like, God, did I fucking laugh with all of that shit.
Yeah. Like when they're on the stakeout and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Debbie."
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
And so he goes from Cop Out to Red State, which was
I've seen Red
such.
State. I've seen it twice. I watched it on Netflix. It was on Netflix, and I'm like, I got it. It's Kevin Smith. Let's do it.
Well, that's the thing is, I knew that Red State wasn't going to be your kind of traditional Kevin Smith movie because I had seen
Not at all.
him talking about it
Yeah.
in Q&As and stuff like that. So I knew going into it wasn't going to be your traditional Kevin Smith style of
Well,
stuff.
the cover art is like a teenage girl holding an AK-47.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck movie is this?
Right.
Sure, this is a Kevin Smith movie.
Right. It
This
was
is the guy who did Clerks.
Yeah. So yeah, I knew going into it wasn't going to be your typical Kevin Smith shit. But even then, it was such a fucking departure from what he normally does. Like, I was expecting more like Desperado, where it is, kind of an action movie and more serious, but it had some comedic relief in there. Red State, not so much. Like, there was a couple little funny parts here and there.
Well, yeah, the sheriff was funny.
Yeah.
They got the guy who played Bill on King of the Hill to be the sheriff.
Yeah, to be the sheriff.
He's fucking hilarious. He's just funny in general.
And
No.
which actually,
Red
Mike Judge is
State's-
another guy we need to fucking talk about because Idiocracy
he's
is one of the
funny, yeah.
greatest movies ever made.
Welcome to Costco. I live.
Yeah. We had such a long running joke about that. Like, we've never had a Costco here, so we used to do it with Walmart because fucking Walmart is
yeah.
everywhere here. So anytime we'd
Yeah.
walk into Walmart, like me or my buddy Truck would be like, "Welcome to Walmart. I love you."
No, Red State. That's the one that is kind of like Far Cry 5 with the crazy people.
crazy
in the church,
religious-
They're making fun of the West. It's basically a mock on the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah.
It's like a
Right?
super.
Oh, okay. Because
And
I
Michael
think I've
Parks-
seen that movie once, but I
Yeah.
couldn't really remember which one that one was.
Michael Parks is like basically Fred Phelps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they
Okay.
fucking Did you ever hear the story about Westboro going after him, like boycotting
Yeah.
Kevin Smith and shit,
Yeah,
and him
he's got-
inviting the
he-
entire family
yeah.
to a screening?
and they all walked out like in the
Yeah.
first 5 minutes.
Oh my god.
His
Wow.
wife, because it's not really Fred Phelps, especially now since he's dead. It's
Yeah,
never
it's
the
his
man.
wife.
It's always his wife. It's always the wife. Like he might be the mouth of the face of that church, but she was the
Well, even towards the end, he wasn't really. She was.
yeah.
Like, at that point, everybody had already realized, okay, she's the fucking psycho. She's the puppet master with her hand up his ass. Like,
Yeah.
he's just fucking going, he's along for the ride at this
So
point.
the Westboro Baptist Church did like they found out that he was making this movie, and they were like protesting it immediately, and they were like wishing death upon their whole slogan is God hates fags and all this other. They go to soldiers' funerals and
Get
tell
run
them
off.
yeah.
Oh,
But
they go down to a local convention for anime down in San Jose here, and they're out there with their things and all this shit. And it's
Well,
funny
yeah.
as hell.
That's one of his Q&A specials was, as a result of all this, and it's called Burn in Hell, because they kept telling him that he was going to burn in hell, and this and that, and how, God hated him and everything.
Yep. And Kevin was just insanely nice to this woman.
Yeah.
This woman who wished
Oh
him
my god.
this woman who wished him nothing but harm. He was just insanely nice to her. He invited their whole family to come up and watch the movie for free on the premiere night. And the whole family showed up and they they they're watching the movie for like 5 minutes and then they immediately all get up and leave. And he's like, "Whoa, where are you going? Like you're not going to watch the movie?"
Yeah, he fucking trolled him pretty good.
It's worth noting that while this movie is a huge departure from everything that Kevin Smith had done before that, I think Red Dawn is actually a pretty decent movie.
It's Red
I
State,
like
not
it.
Red Dawn. There's no Patrick Swayze.
Sorry, Red State.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, Patrick Swayze.
If Kevin Smith
yeah.
had fucking directed the remake of Red Dawn, it probably would have been
Oh my
good.
god.
Probably would have been a lot better. Yeah,
It would have
but
been
yeah,
a lot better. For
but
sure.
yeah, I thought it was it was good, and I agree with what Kevin Smith said. Kevin Smith discovered Michael Parks on From Dusk Till Dawn.
Mhm.
I discovered Michael Parks. I think on Kill Bill. I think he's the sheriff that
Yeah.
wanders onto the crime scene.
Mhm.
But I'm like, who is this guy? This guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Like this guy's fucking awesome. And Kevin Smith discovered Michael Parks like kind of the same way because he's in the beginning of From Dusk Till Dawn. He's like, I got to get this movie. If he hadn't gotten Michael Parks, there wouldn't be a Red State. Like I'm pretty sure he's on record saying that. Like
Yeah.
that he wrote that part just for him. And
Yep.
if he had said no, then there wouldn't be a movie. But also like John Goodman's in that movie.
Yeah.
Fucking
And
Kevin
that's
Pollak's in that movie.
when I seen John Goodman and then watched the movie and seen the role that he was in, it was so cool to see that because everybody knows John Goodman obviously from Roseanne. That's where most people know him from.
Right.
And that's a completely different character. That's a comedic role basically. Even a lot of people seen him in the fucking Flintstones movie or whatever.
Raising
you know-
Arizona.
Oh,
was
God.
another good
Yeah,
one.
like not a
Yeah.
lot of people had seen him in
Big Lebowski.
really dramatic roles. Yeah, Big Lebowski. And then he did that, and also he was amazing in Flight when he was the drug dealer.
Oh yeah,
but-
we need a Cocoa Puff.
Yeah, like I fucking love John Goodman as a dramatic actor. I like him more as a dramatic actor than I do as a comedic actor.
I liked him in The Gambler.
Oh yeah.
He only gets like 5 minutes of screen time in that movie, but he's excellent
Mm-hmm.
in that every fucking second that he's on screen.
But yeah, it is kind of funny how much like Far Cry is. I didn't even I hadn't made that connection when watching or playing Far Cry. How much it is like Red State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Oh Brother We're Out though. He was
Oh,
fucking
bunch
awesome
of
in
money,
that.
boys.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. He was in the more recent one with Charlize Theron, Atomic Blonde.
oh yeah, he played the
he had-
CIA agent.
Yeah.
That was a cool ass flick, man.
I
Holy
loved that
shit.
movie.
I dug that movie so much.
I
I
it was
tried
a
to
great
watch
movie.
it like 4 or 5 times previously, and you would think I would immediately be into it because it's Charlize Theron like naked in a fucking bath, but it was just like,
Or
okay,
making
this is
out with a fucking chick.
right, but
Nice.
like I was
Yeah.
just okay. Well, I had never made it past the first like 5 minutes of it because I was just like, okay, this is super slow, pretty fucking boring, and then
But it picks up. Like,
yeah, exactly. I finally
So-
buckled down and started watching it, and they get into the interrogation, and then go back in time or whatever.
Is
all of that.
Atomic Blonde like a female James Bond or like a female
Yes.
John Webb?
Yeah,
Yeah,
more
James Bond.
yeah, more James Bond, but she does beat the shit out of some people in hand to hand.
It's more like the more recent James
Yeah,
Bonds where
it's
it's
like
really
the
gritty.
physical James Bond.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
it's not the debonair suit Sean Connery
Yeah.
James Bond.
The reason
the rapey one?
Yeah, the rapey
Yeah, the
one.
rapey one,
Where
yeah.
he slaps the woman on the ass and says, "This is man talk."
Throws her on the fucking yeah.
Uh, but the thing I dug about Atomic Blonde was that it was like 89 when the wall came down, and
Yeah,
you know
it
it
was
was
right when the
East
wall was
versus
coming down,
West,
yeah.
and all. Like it was just, it's a lot of really cool subject matter. They had a lot of really cool music in it and visual styling and stuff like that. And the whole movie has kind of this weird color tone to it. Like they put a weird filter on the entire movie.
Sci-fi.
No,
it's like the
filthy. It's like gritty.
It's like the entire movie has a blue tone to it.
Yeah.
Or like a bluish gray to it. Like they put a filter over the
it was always
camera.
shades of gray because of the area that, you know, they were in Berlin, so it was always really shades of gray.
Yeah, and like James McAvoy's in it, and I dig that dude. I think that guy's an awesome actor. I don't really necessarily dig him as Professor X, but you know, I dig him as an actor, and as a person. Like watching him in interviews, he's hilarious as fuck. But yeah, anyways, back to Red State. Yeah. So yeah, Red State I dug. A lot of people, you know, didn't really get down on it because, again, it was such a huge departure from what he normally did, but not as big of a departure as Tusk, which I couldn't get into.
I just watched on the way home preparing for this. I listened to a little snippet of a podcast where Kevin talks about. So I all I knew was that Tusk was a movie that Kevin Smith made. I didn't know that his daughter's in it. I didn't know that Johnny Depp's daughter's in it.
Yep.
I didn't know that fucking Johnny Depp was in it.
Yeah. That's where Tusk is where Yoga Hosers came from. The two characters that his daughter and Rose Leslie or whatever Johnny Depp's daughter play are in Tusk
Rose,
are the same characters that they play in Yoga Hosers. Those two teenage girls that work at the convenience store, basically Dante and Randall in female form. That's who is in Yoga Hosers, which is the other one that I never watched.
And that's when I also found out that Johnny Depp's kid and his kid are like super close friends.
Yeah, they're like best friends
together.
They're BFFs.
Which is really weird how that works out.
Yeah. But the reason I couldn't get into Tusk wasn't because this like isn't Kevin Smith. This isn't, you know, what I want to see from him. It's just I'm not really into that kind of weird
was
horror
it like Human
porn.
Centipede kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of. Like he takes this dude and turns him into a fucking walrus, basically, by like stitching
Human
skin
Centipede.
to him and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not really into that kind of torture porn type shit.
Like Hostel.
Right.
Like
Hostel was great. I love
Hostel. I remember I went on a date to see Hostel. This girl wanted to see it so bad because she was into like horror movies and stuff like that.
Oh, dude.
And
you probably got a lot of pussy that night.
For me, horror movies, like one of my favorite horror movies of all time was Event Horizon, just because Sam Neill was so fucking creepy in that movie.
That movie's weird. It's like underrated, good sci-fi horror movie. That and the other one. Hold it before Pandorum.
Oh yeah, Pandorum was
really
fucking
good.
Excellent, dude. Oh my god, Dennis Quaid is so awesome in that. But yeah, for me, horror has to be something not necessarily suspenseful, because I hate like the jump scare style of shit. Like I absolutely loathe people that fucking rely on jump scares. Yeah, like it's like, dude, of course it's gonna scare someone when you build up the tension that much and then flash something on the screen for half a second. You fuck stick.
Yeah.
Like yes, that's scary. You know.
Or you hear the music building up and then and it's like your fucking husband.
Right.
Like, because that's how people walk up to each other. They sneak up on each other.
Right.
And it's like, you know, for me, horror was like Freddy Krueger, because it's like this motherfucker hits you in your sleep. Like what the fuck? Yeah, you know.
Yep. We have a tradition. We watch Halloween every year on Halloween.
Well, it's a must. I cannot fucking wait for the new one.
I know. I can't wait.
For
I
me
forgot
was
about that.
Alien. You know,
Yeah.
Alien was good too.
Alien was just Forget it. After watching that, I was like,
And that's why, like,
I'm not going to sleep for a while.
that's why, like,
Forget
I'm
it.
actually,
See,
I'm
I couldn't
happy.
sleep after watching Freddy. I could not
Yeah.
sleep.
Well, that's why I'm happy. Like this new Predator movie is going kind of the horror route than the the action route that it was for the first couple of flicks. Because I've always thought Predator was more of a horror movie than what it was an
Yeah,
action movie.
exactly.
But I
Sure,
know
it had like
again,
action set pieces, but it
Right.
really wasn't.
but I know again it's gonna be the same jump scare bullshit because that's what's popular. It's what is easy to do. But anyways, to get back to the kind of the torture porn shit, I went to see Hostel, and we're sitting there watching, and of course, she's fucking digging it, and I'm like, this is fucking retarded. Like, how
Well,
the
yeah,
fuck? No,
the
like
fir-
this
the
doesn't
first
make any
guy that
fucking
gets
sense.
the first guy that gets tortured, the dude puts the power drill to his chest.
Yeah.
He drills him in the chest, and then I'm like, oh, like I'm not feel. This is nothing. Like what the fuck? And then like my weakness is like getting like cuts like fucks me up to watch that. I can't
Oh
watch that
yeah,
shit.
like
So
Saw.
he fucking severs his Achilles tendons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, even that little scene in Kill Bill where she swipes Bucks his Achilles
Oh
tendon.
yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I can't, ooh.
But you're
Ugh.
okay with the eyes, right?
Well, that's
No,
the thing is,
why?
we got to that scene when the chick cuts her when he cuts her eye with the fucking shears, right? They burned her eye or whatever, and they cut her eye with shears, and this like white liquid starts spewing out. And I remember almost everybody in the movie theater turning around and looking at me like I was a fucking psycho because I started laughing uncontrollably because
Oh,
I
God.
thought it looked like tapioca pudding. And at that point, the movie was just so fucking ridiculous. I couldn't even take it somewhat seriously. So
Yeah.
I was like, this has now become a fucking comedy to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was laughing so fucking hard I was hyperventilating because I was like, these motherfuckers use tapioca pudding to fucking do this for this movie. I know it. I fucking know it.
Right.
And I was laughing so hard, and like I said, like everybody in the theater turned around and looked at me like I was flat out fucking psychopath.
I laughed
Yeah.
really hard at the Hills Have Eyes remake.
Oh,
laughed-
God,
I
that
laughed-
was hilarious.
I laughed really fucking hard at Black Christmas, that remake.
That one was
and then,
dumb. Oh, there
and
was
then
that one-liner.
yeah,
The,
well,
the movie that I found like stupidly hilarious and just couldn't get over was the movie that was the and it was
Happening?
yeah, The Happening was.
well, that's a whole
Yeah,
other that's a whole other thing
Well,
though.
no, hold on. But when my mom watched it, she got creeped the fuck out by it. She cannot watch that movie again. She's just utterly disturbed and looks at it like this shit could really happen.
Like
I'm like,
the
are you
Marky Mark
fucking
movie.
kidding me?
Okay, yeah, I was
The
gonna.
M.
I
Night
can't.
Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, the
I
M. Night
can't.
Shyamalan.
I personally, I hate fucking M. Night
I
Shyamalan,
can't
but
stand.
I can't.
but-
I can't hate
there's
on The
one
Happening
movie-
because
Listen.
it's got Marky Mark in it. And
Yeah,
Well,
there's
yeah.
one movie. There's one movie that M. Night Shyamalan did that I actually enjoy, and that was Lady in the Water. That movie.
I
Was the
never.
one that-
The only one he did that I legit liked,
Eat.
and it wasn't even. I didn't even like the movie. I liked one scene in it, and that was the fucking. What was it with Mel Gibson?
Signs.
Signs.
Signs,
That's it.
yeah.
Oh, Science was good.
One scene
Cheesy.
in that entire thing I found legit creepy, and that was the fucking camcorder of the birthday party, and the alien just
Oh,
walks across. That
Yeah.
was
Children,
legit
dominoes.
fucking creepy for me. Like
But
that
anyway.
for me was all right. Yeah, now it's a fucking horror movie.
Yeah,
Well,
but
wasn't-
but anyway, my mom like freaks out about it, and she's like, "Oh my god, this could actually happen." Now I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Really?"
God
Jesus
forbid
Christ.
she watches Final Destination.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Well,
she won't.
like,
She won't.
The Happening
I-
isn't like M. Night on record saying that like it's supposed to be like a 30s horror movie like ripoff kind
I
of thing.
have
Yeah.
no fucking
thi-
clue.
That's what it's supposed. That's why everything is like so over the top, and the acting
Yeah.
is like
Yeah,
it's really
sure
bad
it
on
is.
purpose. Well,
Yeah,
well,
sure, yeah, exactly,
well,
sure
Marky
it
Mark-
is. But
well, Marky Mark's in that movie, and John Leguizamo, and they're not bad actors.
No, in
So,
fact, I think John
they're
Leguizamo
both
is one of the
great.
most
I think
underrated
that's the
actors
same-
ever.
oh,
I think that's the
easily.
same
They're
argument-
both great actors.
I think that's the same argument that Brewer made about Ben Affleck and Mallrats. Is like these two actors are very talented, but they're playing it up like super
Right.
cheesy.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm not like I must be in the minority then because I love Sixth Sense, I love Unbreakable, I love Signs. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
like
he did do those,
What
didn't
about The
he?
Village?
The Village. Fucking
sucked.
sucks.
I never
The
watched.
Village
I never
sucks.
watched
The
The Village, but I
was
did.
garbage.
I did love Sixth Sense and Unbreakable. Unbreakable was fucking
Well,
outstanding,
so
dude.
Yeah.
quick little story for just a little quick one. So you got Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, you got Signs, you got The Village, you got
The
Lady in the
Fog, I
Water.
think? I
No,
don't
not
know.
The Fog. No, that
Or The
wasn't. That was a
Mist.
Steve. That's a
No,
Stephen
not the
King
mist. That was
book
Oh,
Stephen
it's
King.
movie.
Misted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Fog was about fog pirates or whatever.
Yeah, that was
But the
Yeah.
Mist,
so fucking
the
stupid.
Mist was the
Didn't the
movie
Fog
with
have
Thomas Jane.
what's his name? The guy that played Superman in Smallville. Wasn't he in that?
Oh, that guy. Oh, I forgot
I
his
think he was. Now
bloody
he's on
name.
that show Lucifer.
I don't
Anyways.
know.
Is he? Are you serious?
No, not Thomas Jane.
I
Thomas
didn't-
Jane was in The Mist,
Thomas Jane was in the
Oh,
Mist.
you're
which
talking
has
about
the
Mist was-
greatest movie ending of all time.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so yeah, you got what Lady in the Water, and then after Lady in the Water was The Happening, and after The Happening, I think The Happening was like the bottom, like that was his like might not recover from bad movie. Because that he didn't make anything for. Oh yeah, he made the fucking Avatar last Airbender movie.
Oh
whatever
yeah,
the
that
fuck.
fucking bomb.
Oh God.
And then after that, he didn't do anything for a long time. And then he went back to like these really super humble roots of he made that movie The
Oh,
Visit.
Split is good.
Well, that's what I was gonna get to, is that what's the movie that he made before that though? It's like a found footage movie of like the two kids and like they're at their grandparents' house.
I have no
The-
idea.
The Visit or some
The
shit. it's
Visit.
The
called?
Yeah,
Visitors?
Visit.
Or
No,
was
The
that the
Visit.
one with Nicole Kidman?
No, that was the Visit. No, that was the movie where Nicole
Oh,
Kidman is dead. Like she's
Yeah.
she's a ghost. I forgot what that's called.
Well,
I
that's kind
forgot the
of
name of
that's
it.
kind of
but
his
It was a
forte.
good movie.
I am your daughter. But yeah, but then Split comes out, and I knew Split was an M Night Shyamalan movie, and I was really curious to like okay, well let's see what they do with this. And I remember seeing trailers for it, like these girls get kidnapped, and like they're kidnapped by a dude with like split personality. That's what
Dissociative identity disorder.
And
Yeah,
that's
whatever.
like
That's the name
it's
of it
supposed to
now.
take part in the same universe as
Yeah.
Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
Well, you don't. Well, this thing is, you don't know that. You don't know that until the literally
Very
the
end.
very
Right.
the last
Okay.
10 seconds of the
Yeah,
movie.
I remember when
So
we were watching it, he like lost his shit
I
at the end.
lost
I'm
my
like,
fucking-
what?
So-
What is
So-
it?
I haven't seen it, and I probably
it's
won't
so
end up
good.
watching it. But so what does like Mr. Glass show up right at the fucking end,
Well,
and
no.
you're like,
here's
oh
the,
holy
here's
shit!
the thing. So the whole movie happens. The kids get saved. Whatever kids
One
die.
gets saved.
One gets
two
saved.
Die.
Yeah. So the guy gets away, and at the very end
And the
of the
guy
film,
is
you
played
hear-
by James McAvoy, who
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just fucking
Yeah.
blowing a minute ago.
At the very end of the film, you cut to a diner, right? And you hear a couple of people talking, like, oh, they say he got away. Like he kind of reminds me of that other guy. What's the what was his name? The guy with the cane. And then I'm like, it was Mr.
Mr.
Glass.
Glass.
And then it cuts to Bruce Willis sitting at
Yeah.
the diner, and he's wearing
he's wearing his fucking rain.
he's wearing the
coat thing.
raincoat,
Mhm.
and he's like, and you hear Bruce, he's like, Glass. His name is Mr. Glass, and he takes like a sip of his coffee, and then it cuts to credits. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy
Oh.
fuck, this is an Unbreakable
And it's coming
movie.
out in
Holy fuck.
2019.
Yeah, the sequel
Mhm.
is yeah.
Yeah, Glass. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, James M. Night, just forget The Village, forget all the other shit that he's done.
Right,
that's
I was shocked when he
so
had
fucking
me
good.
watch it. It's actually pretty good compared to
Yeah,
his
Split
last
is actually
shitty
pretty
movies.
good. Yeah, Split is actually pretty good.
Yeah, but that's
Eh,
my.
I may have to watch it. We'll see.
It's really like it's from like start to finish. Like it's really fun. Like I couldn't. I usually get bored like really easily, and she usually gets bored really fucking easily. Like with certain kinds
Yeah,
of
you're gonna
movies.
entertain me in like 5 minutes or I'm done.
Yeah, and she stuck out the whole fucking thing, and we were both like heavily invested in that movie.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I've never been the biggest fan of his stuff. Like I said, I did enjoy that one scene in Signs. The rest of it I thought was absolutely fucking retarded and just ridiculous. Like, why the fuck how is it our water? Like, fucking,
Why'd they pick
is
Earth?
right.
It's
It's like
80% water.
it's the same. It's the same goddamn thing with fucking the day that, or not the day the Earth stood still. What's the one with Tom Cruise? Uh,
Oh, shit.
War of the Worlds.
yeah,
The
War of
War
the
of the
Worlds.
Worlds,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like they get sick.
That was
They're,
so
Yeah.
stupid.
they get the common
So
cold.
stupid.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
These fucking beings are capable of traveling hundreds of thousands or millions of
Right.
light
They didn't
years.
send a probe there,
Right.
like
Like
test for pathogens.
we
whatnot.
we've sent how many probes to fucking Mars now, and we're not even anywhere near sending people there. Like, come on.
Right.
Fucking stop, you lazy ass piece of shit writers that
Yeah, War of
can't
the
come
Worlds.
up with something better.
That's one of those Speaking of Kevin Smith, like Kevin Smith likes that movie, and I can't understand why. He's like, no, I liked it. I dug it. I'm like, how? Like that movie fucking stunk.
It was
And then
horrible.
his son runs off. Tom Cruise's son runs
Yeah.
off to join the battle, and then like that whole thing that explodes. That he goes over defilade into the horizon, and then
And
the
it
whole
sees it all on fire.
yeah, and then the whole defilade gets like burned with napalm, and like somehow his son fucking trekked it across
Yeah.
the states and wound
And
up in
makes
Washington
it to New
D.C.
Jersey.
or New
No,
Jersey.
it was New
Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah,
Fuck
it was.
you.
It was
I mean-
fucking
Spielberg.
ridiculous.
To be truthfully honest, I think that the end of that movie was the fact that everybody died. You know, it was a semblance of everybody dying.
Yeah.
'Cause honestly, there is no fucking way that
that's-
kid would have lived
Right,
through that.
exactly.
That's
And-
why I loved The Mist so much,
Oh, the Mist
because
is
it
great.
wasn't a happy ending.
No,
At
It
all.
was a
but it was
fuck
Yes,
you
yeah.
ending.
real bullshit ending too.
I
like,
loved it so.
like it was the biggest kick.
we
in
were
the
sitting
ass.
there watching it, and this is back when me and all my buddies lived together, and we're all sitting there fucking watching it. And I remember another one of our like inside jokes fucking spawned from this, because we always talked about like the fucking zombie apocalypse and stuff, and
Yeah.
we read the Max Brooks fucking zombie survival guide and everything. We
Yeah.
had a zombie
Low-key,
survival
oh,
kit
yeah.
hanging
So
on the
did I.
wall
I
in
used,
the
I used
fucking
to drive,
house.
dude. I used to drive my wife nuts with like my Z day. Like, oh fuck, I was downtown today.
God.
Oh, dude.
I was downtown today, and
And
I
our
heard a
downtown
siren.
is like a ghost on Sunday.
I
He's
fucking-
going off about it.
I legit, like, we had a zombie survival kit hanging on the wall that said "break in case of zombie apocalypse," and it was behind glass. But anyways, we were all sitting there watching The Mist, and there's that one fucking Bible thumper chick that's in there, like,
Mhm.
fucking God's doing this to us,
Expiation.
and yeah, this and that and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when that lady throws a can and hits her in the head, I laughed so hard that I shot coke out of my nose, because I was like, fucking right on, and
Yeah.
then I yelled out, "Bitch, we need survivors, not believers." And that like became one of our inside jokes. Like anytime we'd see somebody like holding the abortion sign out on the corner or something, we're like, we'd fucking straight up roll down the window and yell at them like, "Bitch, we need survivors, not believers."
That's
That's
great.
awesome.
So then we got like, you get to the end of the fucking movie, and it's Thomas Jane in this fucking car with a couple of people and his son, and
Two
he's
other
got
people
this
from Walking Dead,
Dale and fucking
Dale and
yeah.
Andrea.
and he's got this fucking little snub-nosed revolver, and you know what's about to happen. Of
Yeah.
course,
There's
he's
5 passengers, 4 bullets.
right, and
Yeah,
of course
five passengers,
he's gonna
four
make the
bullets.
fucking ultimate sacrifice and be the one to live with all the guilt and this and that. So he offs everyone, including his son. And I remember before it fucking happened, I was sitting there and I was like, this would be fucking great if the army showed up right now and
Yeah,
cleared shit
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And sure as shit,
They did.
dude in a fucking gas mask like comes walking by the car.
Flamethrower. It was a
And
guy
I
with
was
a
like,
flamethrower too.
oh my fucking god, this is the greatest movie ever. And
Yeah.
like from then on, I will forever say The Mist, hands down, best movie ending ever in all history of fucking cinema.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably
It's
right.
just because it goes so much against everything that is normally done in a movie.
Yeah.
Like even movies that you know are going to have, or that have a bad ending, oftentimes you can, kind of see ahead of time, like, yeah,
Right.
this is gonna end badly, or they're gonna get
That's
a
how I
sequel
feel
and make it
about,
happy in part
the
2 or
phone
whatever.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
Oh, the phone
with
booth?
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the mist, for me it was when that scene was going on, I thought the kid was going to be the one to have to survive it all, you know, and he was
Yeah,
going to be like
that's typical.
traumatized throughout the
Right.
whole rest of his life. And then when it ends up being Thomas Jane's character, and just the fact that he gets out there and he just starts like screaming top of his lungs, and these soldiers walk past him and are like, what the fuck happened
And then all
here?
the stupid believers roll by on the truck.
Yeah.
Like all the stupid fucking religious people now are all rolling by on the truck, and they get to live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because I've watched so many fucking movies throughout the years. You know, you tend to get pretty decent at being able to predict what's going to happen. And
Right,
it's, you know, it gets kind of rare that you get thrown through a loop and like, oh, holy shit, I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah.
But that one, like right up to the last minute, I didn't see it going down that way until the very last minute when it was Thomas Jane, fucking the one left living, and I was like, this motherfucker, like, this is what I would do right now, and sure as shit, that's what happened. Like, I don't even know who directed The Mist, who wrote it, nothing like that, but goddamn, they are my hero.
Well, it's a Stephen King
it's a
book.
Stephen King book.
Yeah, I know it's a King book, but I don't know who wrote the script and, like, directed it, because I don't know, I've never read the book, so I don't know if that's how it actually ended.
Yeah, Frank Darabont wrote and directed.
Yeah.
But that's another one, like, King has had, you know, because he's, you know, got the Dollar Babies and all of that. That's very well known. But he's had so many books, you know, turned into movies. But the one that I've read that I always felt didn't get justice because I love like Rose Red and stuff like that, or Storm of the Century. That's one of my favorite King books that was turned into a movie. Was Storm of the Century. Fucking outstanding movie. But the one I always felt didn't get justice was Running Man. Even though I love the movie Running Man, I like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I love that whole fucking movie. That is one where it could have been even better. Like, I would love to see them redo it.
Pet Cemetery, because in the book is way scarier than the fucking movie was.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the movie was scary anyways because kids creeped me the fuck out.
It was so stupid.
There's a storm a-coming.
Go down that way, huh?
Yeah.
I love that guy.
What was that kid's name? Gage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my fucking good buddy of mine, Don. He named his kid Gage after the kid from Pet Cemetery, and I was like, you are fucking retarded, dude. Like, that's like somebody that fucking grew up watching Children of the Corn moving out to the fucking fields. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Going on that way, huh?
Yeah.
No, but that guy, he was another, like, one of our inside jokes. Like, anytime, like, it'd be cloudy outside or something, one of us would step up and pretend we had fucking bibs on and be like, there's a storm a-coming. But yeah, like, have any of you guys read the what is it, the Bachner books? The short stories that Stephen King wrote under the pen name of Bachner. It had Running Man was one of them.
I watched his I watched his main known books. Like The Shining, stuff like that. It's
really, really good. The Bachner books, it's actually one book. They just put, it's like 3 or 4 short stories that they put together into one. I read it as a paperback. But one of those is The Running Man. And you know, it's the same premise, you know, the cons are, you know, in this game show and stuff, but instead of taking place in this game zone, it takes place across the entire US. And anybody that sees them can call them in and earn, you know, awards or rewards or whatever for calling in, you know, one of the runners, and the hunters have to go out and get them. And just the final, like, 10 pages or so of that book was, like, some of the most captivative writing I've ever read. Because Stephen King's always been very, very good about descripting, or kind of describing the scene and making it very kind of a visceral experience.
Yeah.
And basically, by the end of the book, he's on a plane and being taken back to the headquarters or whatever, and he tries to hijack the plane, and he gets shot in the gut, and his intestines are like falling out of his stomach, and he's stepping on his intestines as he's trying to make his way to the cockpit to take over this plane, and it's talking about the searing pain that is going through his body every time he steps on his intestines and stuff, and he finally gets up to the cockpit and is able to subdue the pilot and stuff. And the book ends with him crashing the fucking plane into the headquarters of the game's fucking building or whatever. Which obviously they can't do now, thanks to some fucking douchebags.
Thanks, 9/11.
Thanks,
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Osama.
Yeah, exactly. But I've always thought that was one movie that, in terms of the Stephen King movies, if they were going to remake, I would like to see it closer to the book.
Right.
Because there is a lot of Stephen King movies that aren't exactly like the book, and they're for the better for it.
Like
because
The
it's
Shining?
or like Shawshank.
Nothing like the book. Shawshank.
Shawshank is a fucking
quite a bit.
86-page fucking short story. Like, it's
Yeah.
not. There's a lot of shit in the movie that never happens in the book because the book isn't big. It's not a book. It's a short story. But there's a couple of those examples where the movies are better than the books. And
Green Mile.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
easily.
Green
Oh
Mile.
yeah,
fuck
definitely.
But that's
Oh god, Green Mile is one of the best movies ever made.
Running
It
Man
really
was
is.
definitely one of those that I thought, fuck, man, they need to make this closer to the actual book. But now, of course, like I said, they can't.
So I felt about Harry Potter 5. Like, fuck you. Because they made the movie
I know-
before the book came out.
I could never get into those because I never got into Harry Potter. That was a little bit after my time, so I
Yeah.
never really got into them. Like Lord of the Rings was more my jam
Yeah.
because I did read Tolkien and shit, so I got into that a lot more. Even though I did have like fucking my one buddy, huge Tolkien fan, or Tolkien, however the fuck you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Settle down, fucking nerds. It's a book, not a religion.
Yeah.
But anyways,
It is a
he-
religion. Shh.
yeah.
It's real to me, damn it.
One return, and it's not of the king, it's of the Jedi.
Damn right.
But my buddy was a huge Tolkien fan, and like he got pissed off at some of the shit in Lord of the Rings, like that never fucking happened and this and that and so on and so forth. And I'm like, dude,
Oh god.
fucking stop it, you dick! You're one of those
Right.
assholes in the theater that I want to punch when you're like, the book was better. And I'm like, no, the fuck
Yeah.
it wasn't, because I have to physically read a book. Like, fuck off, okay? I have moving pictures in front of me. It is not
Mhm.
better.
Well, and there are elements, like, there are films, for example, there's 3 different versions of the Watchmen movie. There's the theatrical version, there's the
Mhm.
extended version, and then there's, like, the ultimate extended version.
Yeah, the director's cut or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ultimate version is, like, you can't play that in theaters because honestly, it's like 3 hours and 40
Yep.
minutes long or something. It's really fucking long, and I personally love that, but I don't think, like,
It wouldn't have done well.
no, it wouldn't
No.
have. So they cut it down. You know what I mean? They cut it down, and they took Watchmen is an example of a movie that is kind of like ripped literally straight from the pages onto the film,
Hmm.
like almost note for note. That movie is exactly like the books, but when you have like the ultimate like extended version, like it's literally page by page by page that is poured onto this book.
Yeah,
this
like
movie.
each scene is a fucking panel from one of the books.
Yeah, and well, let me ask you a question, Brewer. Because I just said something, but I think you might contradict me here. Did you sit through the whole fucking Grindhouse thing, like all 6 hours of that?
Yeah.
You did. I see. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could sit through Planet
It's-
Terror and
It's a
Death
little
Proof.
bit. It's a little bit different though. You got to remember, I grew up watching double features like that and watching the
Yeah.
Universal horror movies and things like that. So like for me, because I was fucking lucky enough to be able to actually go see that at a drive-through. The one drive-through
Nice.
that we, well, actually, there's 2 drive-throughs here. Well, no, there's one. Sorry, but the one I went and seen it at is now closed. But I grew up going to that drive-through with our drive-in, I should say. I grew up going to that drive-in with my parents and seeing movies and double features and stuff like that. And like I went and seen fucking Speed and True Lies at the drive-in as a double
That
feature.
is so
What?
cool.
Tell me how
Lucky
fucking
bastard.
rowdy of a double
Awesome.
feature that is.
Fucking
Speed and
awesome.
fucking True Lies.
Awesome.
Okay,
Damn.
so yeah, we all fucking loaded up in our buddy's fucking Ford Escape, big ass fucking SUV. There was like 12 of us loaded in that motherfucker. We had buddies under blankets in the back to sneak them in, you know.
Damn.
And we all rolled to the fucking drive-in and watched Planet Terror and Death Proof together. And it was absolutely amazing because it was a bunch of us dudes that grew up watching those movies, those old school fucking late night
Shitty B movies.
grindhouse horror movies, and you know, car movies like Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry and Vanishing Point and shit like that. So yeah, for us, it was like 6 hours of pure fucking joy, including the breaks that were built into the movie, like the you know the concession
Commercials.
breaks. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that was legit. Like that's what drive-ins did, you know.
Nice.
So yeah, it was pure fucking joy for us because it was our fucking childhood all over again.
And I guess there's a difference in atmosphere between sitting in your car
Absolutely.
at a drive-in. Like, I don't know if I could park my ass at the Regal for 6 hours.
I would.
Could you?
Yeah, dude, I've been
It's
always
such a
wanted to go to
cool
a
atmosphere.
drive-through.
Have you
No,
never
no, no,
been
no,
to
no,
a
no.
drive-in?
Not. I've been to
No, never. Dude,
I've
we
been-
Oh my
have one
God.
outside of Buffalo, but it's fucking closed now.
No,
But I always wanted to go to one of those.
Yeah, I was saying though, I don't know if you could sit at the theater for 6 hours. Like, go to the Regal. Like, I don't know if
Oh
like
no,
we
no,
could,
no,
that's what I'm
no
saying.
way. No,
I
if
could go
it's
to the
like
drive-in for
retro,
6
I would do
hours.
something like that, but
Yeah.
not inside just a
Yeah, I
normal
couldn't
theater.
sit inside, like, because I know when like when Marvel movies come out, there's a lot of theaters that will show all of the Marvel movies back to back in chronological
Yeah.
order. And even, you know, back when they first started doing that, and they're like, yeah, it's 10 hours of Marvel movies. And even me and my buddy, who are huge fucking Marvel fans, were both like, dude, I can't fucking go sit at a theater for like 10 hours or even,
Right,
you know, 6
exactly.
hours.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Yeah.
no way.
insane.
Like, I need to be able to kick back, fucking smoke a cigarette, you know, so on. But that's why drive-ins were so great.
Right, you just smoke in your car.
Right.
Eat in your
So
car.
we actually did that quite a bit. Like, we'd go hit the fucking drive-in and, you know, see a double feature or whatever. And Grindhouse was definitely one of my favorites. I will say it though, and I talked about this before, hands down the best experience I've ever had seeing a movie was in a theater. And it was seeing Boondock Saints 2, All Saints Day. When that movie came out, because Boondock Saints, we were huge fans of it. Watched it a ton. And, oh, Nichols is going to have to leave us. Everybody in chat, say goodbye to Nichols. We know you will all miss her.
Bye, Nichols.
Bye, Nichols.
Nice meeting you.
She's like, fuck you guys, I'm already out of here.
Yeah,
But yeah, we were huge fans of Boondock Saints, and like I've watched the making of documentary on that and everything. So when the second one came out, you know, the second one was 10 years after the first one came out. Super fucking excited, but it was only being released in limited theaters, and the closest one to
wow.
us where it was being shown was in Detroit, like 2 hours away. And we're like, well, looks like we're fucking driving to Detroit, you know.
Oh my
So
god.
me and my buddy Truck fucking loaded up and we head down to Detroit. And we get there, get our tickets, and walk into the theater, and the place was fucking packed. Like every single
Holy
seat was taken,
shit.
which was, it was really kind of annoying for us because like we would go to see movies all the fucking time. And me and Truck were those dudes that would sit all the way up at the top row in the fucking
Yeah,
corner.
yeah, I
Like,
do that
stay
too.
the fuck away from us,
Yeah.
you know? Because we're going to be sitting up here laughing and fucking telling jokes and talking shit the entire time. So stay the fuck away from us, because if you turn
Right.
around and say shh, you're probably going to get punched in the face. And like, so to go into that and see like, oh, the only spot is like right in the fucking middle of everybody. Great. Fuck, this is gonna suck. So we go in, we fucking do the fucking ass to face shuffle down the row and get into the seats. And one of the like theater employees comes in and, you know, like addresses everybody as we're sitting there. They like get everybody to quiet down, and they're like, look, we've sold out all the
Oh,
tickets for
no.
this show, but there's still people standing outside that want to see the show, and we're only showing this movie once tonight. And he was like, we've talked to them and they're comfortable with this. I want to get a quick kind of gauge from you guys. My manager gave us the clearance to allow people to come in and sit on the floor in the
Holy
aisles
shit.
to watch this if all of you are comfortable with it because you've all already bought your tickets. And everybody just started cheering and screaming and shit. Like, yeah, fucking bring everybody in. You know, we're not going to deny somebody a chance to see this movie. So they brought another like 30, 40 people in and lined them up along the aisles. Everybody like sitting cross-legged down the
my
floor
God.
to watch this movie. Movie comes on. Everybody's, you know, laughing at the jokes and stuff like that. And I very specifically remember fucking smiling like a little fucking schoolgirl when El Duce, who is played by Billy Connolly, finally comes on screen. He like steps out of the shadows and you see him, holy shit, it's El Duce. He's here. And that theater fucking exploded with cheering.
Wow.
And like people were giving a standing ovation in the middle of the fucking movie because this guy just walked on
Holy
screen.
shit.
And it was so amazing to see, you
There
know,
was
a
a
movie.
firefight.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
That
what
is so
that was the
surreal.
other thing is when fucking when he showed up on the
Info.
screen at the very end, everybody lost their fucking minds because nobody had any idea. Somehow it never leaked that William Dafoe was coming back to do the sequel. And he shows up in the last like fucking 2 minutes of the movie and everybody was like, holy fuck. But yeah, that was hands down the best experience I've ever had seeing a movie. So much so
Wow.
that a week later, the movie opened in Lansing. So we drove an hour over to Lansing to watch it again. And then the week after
That's
that, it opened in
impressive.
Flint. So we drove 30 minutes to Flint to see it a third time. And I mean, the movie was fucking awesome. We loved the movie, but it was also just the experience of seeing it with a huge group of fans. It's like going to a concert, you know. You don't go to a
Or a
concert
convention
necessarily,
center.
yeah, but you know, to go to a live concert,
Right.
most bands
Right.
sound like shit live. They don't sound
Yeah,
anywhere near as good as they do on an album.
System of a Down talking about you,
Like
fuckers.
there's a handful of bands that are even better live than what they are on an album.
Disturbed.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but you don't necessarily go there for the music. You go there for the atmosphere and the experience.
Right.
And that's how it was going to see that movie. But going back to kind of the original point, that's how a drive-in kind of is. You know,
Yeah.
you're there for the experience, the atmosphere, going up to the concession stand. Yeah, of course you
That
bring
is
your own
so
fucking
cool.
food with you too, but at some point in time, you gotta walk up to the fucking concession stand and get a fucking slushie or get some
Dude,
popcorn or milk
don't
duds or
they come
whatever.
out on their little rollerblades or whatever? Is that
No,
no,
no, that's like a
that's
Those are
drive.
250s, I think.
that's like a Sonic. That's
Yeah,
like a
that's like a
drive.
drive-in restaurant.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we
Those
have
are fucking
those.
cool
We
too.
have Sonics here and A&Ws and stuff. There were drive-ins back in the day that did shit like that, but not so much now.
Like roll hop, like
Well,
wheel
they're all
hoppers,
closed now.
hoppers or something.
Yeah. Like fucking like you're in the movie The Wraith. Which if you guys haven't seen The Wraith, go watch The Wraith. It's fucking pure cinematic gold with young Charlie Sheen. Which have you ever seen that one, Loster?
No.
Oh my god, you've never seen the fucking Wraith?
What year are we talking? Is this like before Platoon?
Yeah, actually, I think it was right before Platoon because it
Then
was
no.
before Charlie Sheen got fucking popular, really. Oh, and very quickly, Petco with the 50 bomb.
50 spot, huh?
Holy fuck, brother! Thank you very, very much. And yes, that is going towards a good cause. Got to pay off debts thanks to the funeral and all that. So that's what that's going towards.
You're starting to get the crackle, brewer. You might want to push your cord in, whatever
Oh,
you
God
do.
damn it, it is.
A little bit, just a little tiny bit.
All right. Well, talk about a fucking movie for a second, and I'll
All right.
get this squared away.
Okay. All right, babe. It's me and you. Whereas the podcast, we're hijacking it. What was your favorite
All right. All right. I think we're back now. Sorry about that, guys. My apologies. It's been having audio issues since that last fucking Windows update. I'm not exactly sure that's what's causing it, but yeah, it's kind of a pain in the dick. Yeah, so, sorry, which movie were you guys talking about? I dug Constantine. Oh. Speed. Yeah, probably around there. Um, the... Oh, god damn it, hold on. You guys' audio isn't coming through here on, the fucking... There we go, now they should be able to hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, but, fucking Constantine I dug because I had seen the comics before. I didn't really
Yeah,
get
so did
big. I didn't really get big into them. I didn't read them all that much. But I'd read a little bit about him, and I knew it was a really cool fucking character because he had popped up in other comics that I liked. So I knew who John Constantine was. So I really dug that movie.
Yeah. I didn't. That was one of those like slow burns for me. Like the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, it's alright," and then like the more I watched it, the more I liked it.
Slow. What?
Yeah, for me, it was like it took me a while to catch on. It took me a while to like really like it.
Right.
So did
And it took.
you not grow up watching like Bill and Ted's, or was that a little
I
bit
did.
before your
I
time?
did. No, no, no. I grew up watching Bill and Ted because Bill and Ted, the first one came out in like '88, I think, or '89. So,
Yeah, something like that.
by the time I was like 3 or 4 years old, I mean, it was 1991, 1992. I
And
remember Bill and
William
Ted.
Sadler is fucking death. That's
Yeah,
so awesome.
Yeah, I remember that shit when I was a kid, but I didn't have attachments to actors and actresses
Yeah, true.
that young, really. Like, it didn't. A couple of like I like Tom Hanks because I like Toy Story. Like I liked
Oh yeah.
I like Tim Allen because I grew up watching Home Improvement. I
Well,
like
yeah,
David.
that's a
Okay.
must.
Yeah.
I like I like David Duchovny because when I was a kid, my parents split up, and it's quick. Is that I would go home Sunday night, and I knew it was I would go with my dad on the weekends, and I always knew it was time to come home on Sunday because we had always watched the X Files. So we watched the
Oh
X
yeah.
Files,
Sunday
and
night,
X
8
Files.
o'clock.
Yeah, 8 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock we'd come. I knew when as soon as the X Files credits were on, I'm like, shit, it's time to go home, which means I have to go to school tomorrow. So
Yeah.
like that's like how I grew up. Like I like David Duchovny and all that other shit. But yeah, I didn't really have attachments, honestly, like to actors until I even got like in my late teens. I'd even say like where I discovered actors like Daniel Day-Lewis. Like I had seen Gangs
Yeah.
of New York, and I liked
That's one
Daniel
of my favorite
Day-Lewis's.
movies.
Yeah, well, it's hard
It's
for
a
me
good
to.
movie.
It's a good movie, but I that might be Scorsese's like worst movie. Like
No, see,
honestly.
it's one of my favorites because of Daniel Day-Lewis and oh, I can't remember his name. The guy that becomes the barber, the big redheaded dude.
Oh,
I love him because of Braveheart and
yeah,
shit like that. But
yeah, he's in
the
Lake
thing
Placid.
yeah, the thing I hated about Gangs of New York was fucking
Leo.
yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio and Cameron Diaz. I fucking hated
Yeah,
both of those characters.
it's like
Absolutely hated them.
No, but Leo wasn't terrible in games. I
He
mean,
was such a
compared
little
to,
bitch.
yeah, he was. Yeah, I'm glad Scorsese gave him another chance with Shutter Island because he didn't do very good in fucking Gangs of New York. He didn't need to be in Gangs of New York, or and
No.
if he did, like they could have made
They could have
like
made a
the
movie about
movie.
the butcher, and I'd have been
Well,
happy.
right,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
the movie ends with the fight between Liam Neeson and Bill the Butcher. That should have been the end of the movie. That
Yeah,
whole movie should have been about the war between
exactly.
the natives and the dead rabbits. That would
Yep.
have been a fucking great movie. But I don't care about the all this other shit that's going on, like in the 5 points. Like I don't give a shit about that. It's called Gangs in New York. There's like
Right,
almost no
exactly.
gangs
Yeah,
in the fucking
her
movie.
fucking going uptown, like the whole
Oh,
love
she's a
story
turtle
just
dove.
felt
Like, oh
like
yeah,
fucking jammed in there. It's just
yeah.
No, you're right in terms of Scorsese movies though, because when you put it up against something like The fucking Departed, yeah, it doesn't stand a
Well,
chance.
see, the thing about The Departed is another one. I'm not too fond of that movie either.
Oh
And
my god, I love
it
it.
has nothing to do with like the actors because I like Matt Damon and Marky Mark, Alec Baldwin and
Fuck
Leo.
that Nicholson, dude. Like
Oh
Nicholson
yeah, Nicholson of
fucking
course.
nails that role.
But if you watch it, like in the first like 5 minutes, there's like continuity errors and like smash cuts and like cuts
The
that don't make
only
sense.
the only thing I personally really didn't care for in The Departed was the whole love story with his old lady, and then she ends up fucking sleeping with DiCaprio, and
Yeah, it's
that
dumb.
to me was just stupid. But
Yeah,
fucking Nicholson
it was like just
in that
it was just
role, and then and of course like Marky Mark, like him and Donnie busting each other's balls and knowing that they're actually brothers in real life
Oh
just made
yeah.
it that much better. And when he was like, how's your how's your mother? Good. Tired from fucking my father. Like that line.
well,
Just
that was Alec Baldwin.
fucking. Was that?
Is Donnie
I thought that was Donnie that said it to
Donnie
him.
Wahlberg's not in that movie?
Yeah, he is. Donnie
Is
Wahlberg
he?
plays one of the FBI agents.
Oh yeah, my theory is like feds. You treat them like you
Yeah, you
feed
treat
them
him
shit
like
and keep them in the
mushrooms,
dark.
feed him shit, and keep him in the dark. Yeah.
That's Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's his big brother.
Maybe, maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But like I looked it up, and apparently Scorsese did that shit on purpose. Because like in the first like 5 minutes of the movie, you got Jack Nicholson talking to young Matt Damon, and he's walking towards Matt Damon, and he's got a cigarette in his mouth, and then the camera cuts to Jack Nicholson's face, and he doesn't have the cigarette anymore. And like there's scenes where like the audio doesn't match up with what's happening
Right.
on the screen. There's scenes where like the ADR is fucked up, like the voices that were recorded after the movie was shot are
Mm-hmm.
fucked up. And
Oh, and then
Scorsese like said like, well, you know, we're not. He gave like a what you call it, like an Ed Wood response, like no one will notice those things.
yeah.
It's all about the big picture. Like I
Right.
noticed all of those things, Marty.
I know the one guy that I really fucking dug in that too was the guy that plays French. I can never remember that
forgot his
actor's
name.
name,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I'll cut
everything
your
I've
fucking nuts off.
everything I've ever seen that dude in, I've really liked him in that role. I'm trying to remember Edge of Darkness. Have you ever seen that one with Mel Gibson?
Is that is that like his comeback movie? Was that like his?
No, that was pre fucking craziness. Edge of Darkness was he plays a cop. His daughter basically gets killed.
Yeah, that was
in his Porsche.
like.
I thought that was pre crazy.
No, that was post. That was post.
Oh.
I just want you to smile and blow me.
that movie, like that dude that plays French is in that, and the two of them have a really good back and forth in like
Ray
Mel Gibson's
Winstone.
backyard. Yeah, Ray Winston. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a really good back and forth in his backyard. That was fucking outstanding. He's another one that's like Mel Gibson's one that's at post comeback, like holy fuck, dude.
The Gringo,
like,
that movie was
Gringo,
great.
awesome. Bloodfather, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like he's done. Even though I will say, fucking.
Yeah, Edge of Darkness he hadn't done a film. So the last movie he did, he did We Were Soldiers in 2002. He did Signs in 2002. The Singing Detective in 03.
I don't even remember that one.
Paparazzi in 04. And then you don't hear from him for 6 years.
Wow.
I think Apocalypto's in there somewhere, but
I never watched that one.
Let me see, director. Apocalypto was in 06.
See, I didn't watch that one, and I didn't care for Hacksaw Ridge. Like
Really?
Everybody thought I was gonna love that fucking movie, and I was like, yeah, it's an amazing story. It's it's a harrowing tale, but it's a fucking boring ass movie.
And everyone forgets that Mel Gibson directed Passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
It's a fucking
Dude,
movie.
I watched that at a church because this chick took me to a church that I didn't want to go to, so I dressed, all goth-like because I didn't want to go. And I laughed my ass off at, the most sensitive parts.
The messed up thing is, like, Jim Caviezel's in that. And
Are you serious?
dig... Yeah, he plays Christ. That's Jim Caviezel.
Holy shit.
I dig Jim Caviezel for two reasons. One, the show Person of Interest. Fucking awesome show. Two, was this movie he did fuck, I can't even remember the name of it now. But basically, he's chasing this guy that's a serial killer that like crashes into, like, causes wrecks, almost like Death Proof style. But he like runs girls over and shit like that. And Jim Caviezel is like tracking this guy across the country and chasing him, and he's in a Duster, uh, which is like one of my favorite cars ever. Anyways, like that movie was awesome. It was kind of a B
Highwayman?
movie. Highwayman. That's it. Yep,
Yeah.
that is a badass movie, dude. Love that movie. The only thing that I didn't care for about the movie is like the main female actress that's in it.
Rona Mitra.
She's the chick that was also in Doomsday, which I dug that movie, but I can't get over the fact that she played a dude in the show Nip Tuck back in the day. And so now I always see her as like a chick that
Dude.
used to be a dude, even though she's not. Like, she's actually very pretty. Like, she's genuinely beautiful. But I still see her as a dude because she played a fucking transvestite or whatever in Nip
Yeah.
Tuck.
Like, what's her name? That chick who played Gabriel and Constantine. Like, they always have
Oh
her.
yeah.
They always
right.
have her
Oh,
playing
yeah.
gender neutral people.
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or the other one, that chick in Monster. That the serial
Charlize
killer
Theron?
Oh,
chick.
the
Because they made her like
the lead. I forgot her name.
Charlize Theron.
Because they made her like super like not attractive in that movie, and that's like
Yeah,
the
she
Yeah,
was
first
she's
fucking
movie.
really
attractive
pretty.
in fucking Atomic Blonde. Shit, she was even attractive to me in Mad Max. Like, even with the shaved head, like, I don't give a shit. It's your. I've never
I
understood
love
that
Mad
one.
Max.
Like, because even
Great
like,
film.
like I've, like shaved heads and stuff like that. Like, I don't give a shit. It's your fucking hair, man. Wear it the way you want it. But that was one I fucking loved too. Was Mad Max. Like,
I love
holy
that movie.
fucking balls, man.
Yeah, that was a movie that me and Rain we watched. Like, it was on demand for Time Warner.
Oh, see, I only wanted to watch it because that chick I like was in it. Fuck,
The
what's her
Australian
name?
one.
No, Lenny Kravitz's daughter.
Oh, Zoe Kravitz. Yeah.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, well, it was on demand, and we're like, well, why
It's
don't we?
awesome.
And like everyone was saying how good this Mad Max movie
Yeah,
is.
it
I'm like,
fucking
we're like,
was.
well,
The
let's just
fucking
watch it. And that was
vehicles.
another one. That was another one like Split, where like we were captivated, like
Oh
from
yeah.
start to finish. Like I could not turn it off even if I wanted to. I just
Right.
couldn't. I could not stop watching this movie. And I didn't know anything about any of those actors. Really, the guy who plays Mad Max, whatever the fuck his name is, was that
Tom.
Tom. Holy fuck, the guy who plays Bane,
Shit.
right?
Yeah.
Tom. Fuck. I almost said Tom Brady.
Look it up. Fucking
Uh,
IMDb that motherfucker. He's actually in one of my favorite shows that you guys really need to watch. I genuinely think the two of you sit down and watch it, you will fucking love it. It's called Taboo. Taboo.
Sounds right up my
Tom
alley.
Hardy.
Tom Hardy, that's it. Which he was also great in The Warrior. I hated him as Bane, but he was awesome in The Warrior. But in Taboo is hands down one of my favorite shows ever. They only have one season. The next season is supposed to be coming out sometime this year. But holy shit, is it good. Like, it takes place in like 17th, 16th, 17th century Europe.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dealing with like the East India Trading Company and stuff. Like, it's super fucking cool. It's got some kind of dark arts, mystic type shit mixed in with it because his mom was an Arapaho or some type of Indian. Arapaho is a tribe, not a hoe. But yeah, it's
It's
really,
Ludacris's
really.
girlfriend, Arapaho.
But yeah, so like, I think the two of you would really, really dig that
Yeah,
fucking show.
it looks pretty cool. Looking at pictures anyway.
Well, she likes Salem a lot, and I've like watched little snippets of Salem because of her.
Another one that's like that I really dug that I'm waiting for the next season to come on is fucking Frontier. Like, remember I was talking to you about that the other night, the fur trade and stuff. And,
Yeah.
Jason Momoa was in it, the guy that plays Aquaman and Khal Drogo and everything.
Mhm.
That was a bomb ass show, and that was a Netflix original series. I fucking cracked out on that show for a couple of days. There's like 12 episodes or something like that. And goddamn was it good. Like, Netflix is killing it, dude. With
Right? They
some of their
seriously
original
are.
shit.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've got the Marvel stuff that, is just that's like cashing the fucking check for them at this point. But even some of their other shit, like their original stuff, is really good. Like that show Frontier is awesome. They did that movie Spectral. Did you ever see that? Spectral was fucking sweet, dude. It basically takes place in like Eastern Europe, and it's like a military action movie, but it's like dealing with like they're ghosts, but they're not. It's very hard to explain, but it was a cool ass fucking movie. Like one of the most original sci-fi movies I've come across in a long time.
You
And for
know,
being a
I
Netflix movie and not a huge budget, like the visuals of it were really, really well done.
one movie that's like that, that I can't wait for see. I don't think it's on Netflix. I'm not sure if I watched it there, but Humans is amazing. It's basically, you have these intelligent robots that you can buy, but it turns out their code is corrupted, and
It's like
they're
Blade Runner.
actually humans in disguise. It's kind of hard to describe. It's kind of like what you were talking about.
Well, did you guys ever watch Altered Carbon?
No.
No, I heard good
Jesus,
things.
fuck, man, you guys
She
have to
watches
watch
we
that.
watched Black Mirror and
Oh, I love Black Mirror. It's
yeah,
great.
and Room 104.
Altered
That show
Carbon makes
No.
Black Mirror look like a little bitch.
Are you serious?
Like it's just so
And that's saying
well
something.
done.
I love Black
Damn it,
Mirror.
I gotta like fucking start the video again here because we're going so long, but I don't give a shit.
There we are. We're
but no.
talking about TV shows now,
Yeah.
not movies anymore.
Altered Carbon was it's just such a cool premise. I mean, it's kind of been done before. Basically, they've learned how to upload the human consciousness into basically a computer chip that you wear in your spine. So if you're rich enough, you never die. You just keep uploading your consciousness into a new body, or you can clone yourself, or stuff like that. And if you go to prison, you basically lose your body, and they just send you to the black for 100+ years, however long your prison sentence is. And then when you come out, you get whatever body they give you. It's a fucking
what is it
badass
called
movie.
again?
Altered Carbon. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
sounds
know.
right up my alley.
I don't know if they're gonna do another season of it or not. I have no fucking idea. But I just went through and watched it all again a little while ago, and I absolutely love it. Like that's one of my favorite shows to
How many
go through and
seasons
binge watch.
is it been up to?
There's
Is
one
it one?
season.
Yeah, it's only
Are you
one.
serious?
Yeah, it's only one
Okay.
season.
10 episodes.
10 episodes. Yep, it's like a
Looks like
like a
I'm
Band
binge
of Brothers
watching
or
that
something.
tonight.
Yeah, it's so good. And actually, I just started watching, doing a watch through of fucking Generation Kill again the other night because, well, it's a good go-to. But
If
the
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I may, we talked about directors. We talked about M. Night. We talked about Kevin Smith. Although we spent like 2 hours on Kevin Smith, but that's what this whole thing is. That's the whole point here. If we have a couple of minutes here, I would like to kind of outline and mention the fucking rise and plummet of Tim Burton and
Yeah.
what great movies Tim Burton has made, and they're starting to become heavily overshadowed with all of the shit that he's putting out.
I think
Yeah.
he's starting to lose his fucking mind or something.
Maybe because that dude made fucking Beetlejuice and Ed Wood. Ed Wood is one of my favorite
It's
movies.
definitely underrated.
Yeah, Ed Wood is like one of my like top 10 favorite
He
movies.
fucking made Batman cool before anybody else.
Right?
Yeah, and like I'll even like let Charlie and the Chocolate Factory go. I love that movie. Like
I never watched it.
It's not great, but I think it's good for like a Tim Burton. Like it's got his charm, and like me and Rain, we bond over a lot of Tim Burton movies. We both really like fucking what's Sleepy Hollow. We both really like Beetlejuice. We both really like Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh yeah, Sweeney Todd. We fucking love Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd is outstanding.
I can never get tired of that movie.
But then,
film.
like in that same like career, this fucking dude puts out like 3 Alice movies, and they're fucking garbage. Did he make a
dude? That's just a cash grabber, you know? Like
I
it's
know,
just
but
like Johnny
yeah.
doing pirate. It's just cash at this point,
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, he is Jack Sparrow at this point. I mean,
yeah.
unfortunately.
They just went downhill so quick. Cause like
Pirates One
I
was
know
excellent.
like I'm pretty sure I've talked to you, Luster, about going to Key West and doing the pirate days and dressing up in garb and all of that shit. And
Yeah.
like that was huge for us. So like when Pirates came out, that was that was awesome. It was like, oh holy shit, like we got a fucking movie. Like
Yeah.
awesome. Like when are we gonna see Queen Anne's Revenge and shit like that,
Yeah,
Um
right.
and then it just like it got really good and they were talking about fucking Davy Jones and this and that. And then it just went off the fucking deep end and they're fighting a gigantic fucking Jamaican fucking voodoo practitioner and it's like now
Yeah.
a fucking she's
Yeah.
a female pirate
And Johnny Depp is
captain
like,
for all
yeah.
of the Asian
Yeah.
fleet and it's like what the
And Johnny
fuck?
Depp is like in the afterlife and he's running around on. They have to
Right,
like
right,
Yeah.
spin the
exactly.
ship. They have
It
to
just
like
doesn't
flip
make
the
any
ship over.
sense at this point.
Yeah. Uh, but I'm trying to think of Tim Burton like Mars Attacks is
Yeah.
is fucking awesome. And like I just like I'm trying to think of like where it all just went downhill, and I gotta say I think it's
The
Alice,
Superman
and
movie.
then
No, it has to
that's
be
right. He
pirates.
did do the Tim Burton didn't do the pirate movies.
No, I said the
Oh.
Superman movie when he tried doing the
No.
Superman
She
movie.
said pirates.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, Tim
No,
Burton did do the
Sleepy
pirate.
Hollow. I think it'll be after Sleepy Hollow 'cause I really enjoyed that one, and that was
Well,
in
yeah,
For
1999.
for
maybe
me,
Charlie.
it was probably Nightmare Before Christmas. Like after that, that's when it started going downhill because I never really got into anything after Nightmare.
Yeah.
Right,
I
like Planet
didn't.
of the Apes sucked
Oh my
so
Oh
god.
yeah, I forgot
bad,
about that
man.
movie. That's another one. Fuck that movie.
Some
Even Marky Mark couldn't save that movie.
that's one that I can't like. I can't hate on Marky Mark because he's fucking Marky Mark. But that's another movie that I went and seen at the drive-in, and it was that movie was so fucking dark that there was parts of the movie that I didn't even know what the fuck was happening until after I watched it when it came out on fucking DVD
Right.
because it was just so dark at the drive-in, like I couldn't tell what the fuck was happening in it. Yeah, that movie was fucking horrid, especially because like I went and seen it with my old man, and I grew up watching the Planet of the Apes movies. My dad was a huge Planet of the Apes movie or Planet of the Apes fan, so I watched all of those fucking movies growing up. And I remember like maybe 20, 30 minutes into the movie, my dad was ready to fucking leave. Like he was like, "Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here." I'm like, "We can't leave." And the reason I said we can't leave is because the double feature was Planet of the Apes and then Austin Powers Goldmember, and I wanted to watch Austin Powers, so that's why I was like,
That's
"No,
worth
we
it.
can stick it out." But yeah, that's I
The
endured Planet of the Apes so I could watch fucking Austin Powers.
well, you two might be able to agree on this then, because she likes this a lot more than I do. She's a really big fan of the Twilight Zone, like the old ones,
Hmm.
like the classic ones. They're all on Netflix. Did you watch Twilight Zone at
Oh
all?
yeah.
Like when you were growing up? She fucking loves those. She loves those shows. Twilight Zone. And, what's the other one? Outer Limits.
Yeah, Outer Limits. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, and Tales from the Crypt.
Oh
Or
yeah,
Tales from
definitely
the Crypt
that.
was a little bit later on, but Tales from the Crypt was a big one. Again, my dad was a huge fan of it, so I watched a lot of Tales from the Crypt. Tales from the Crypt Volume 2 was like my favorite one with the wooden Indian out in front of the store that fucking kills all the dudes that, kill the shop owner and his wife and stuff. Like, yeah, I got down on all that stuff. But again, that's why, like, Grindhouse, I dug that. Like,
Yeah.
I fucking Planet Terror, I loved it because it was a lot of that. That's why even that show that they did last year called Blood Drive, fucking loved it, dude. It was
Isn't that a
total
vampire?
70s. No, it's all about this race, this like cross country race, and the cars run on human blood.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fucking awesome, dude. And it was like late night. It showed at like 1 a.m. on Sci-Fi, and they were actually allowed to swear and shit like that. Fucking
Thinking
Nice.
great
about.
show.
I'm thinking about what Daybreakers, is that it? Was that the
Yeah,
one where
Daybreakers
the
with William
vampires?
Yeah,
Dafoe
that's a
and
vampire movie.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Yep.
The vampires take over the world,
hmm
and
Yeah.
now
That was
human
actually
beings.
that was a cool flick because it was an original idea in
Yeah.
terms of vampires are running the world and we're the fucking minority and shit. I dug the idea of the movie. The movie itself wasn't that great. I hated William Dafoe's accent. I love William Dafoe, but I hated that fucking like hammed up Southern accent that he had.
Yeah.
But
Do you
yeah,
like any of the Underworld movies?
I dug the first one.
Yeah.
I really, really dug the first one. I mean, how
That
the
was
fuck
all-
can you
Who
not? It's
hasn't?
Kate
Yeah.
Beckinsale in a fucking leather jumpsuit, but
Oh, yeah, that movie was great.
yeah.
Now-
eh.
Since we're on the subject, John Carpenter's Vampires might be one of the best worst movies ever made.
Oh, absolutely.
That fucking movie.
It's John Carpenter's Vampires is good because of Tom Savini.
Yeah.
Because Tom Savini is so over the top. It's the
Does he have
same
a
reason
cameo
that,
in that movie at
I
all?
think he does. It's a small little cameo. I'm trying to remember because he does any movie that he does the special effects
has a
for.
cameo.
He does a cameo for.
Yeah.
Granted, the one in From Dusk Till Dawn is a little bigger than
Yeah.
most of the
Same
other
thing
ones.
with he gets a pretty big part in Planet Terror too.
Yeah, exactly, because he plays the cop.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got to be in it somewhere. He has to be because he did all the makeup and shit for it. But that's why that movie is so good. That's another reason why From Dusk Till Dawn is so good, is because it's just so over the top, and Tom Savini is the reason for that.
And that girl's
Yeah.
in it. What's her name that I like? Fucking.
Salma
Salma
Hayek?
You and your,
God,
you and your
love
fucking
her.
crushes.
Oh, fuck crushes. I'm in
She's
love with her. Like
awesome,
even
right?
Hitman's bodyguard. Like she's getting a little older now. Shit.
And she
Yeah.
still looks good.
Yeah, I'd still get down.
Wild Wild West. I have a hard time not paying it, like
I
staring
hated
at her
that
at
movie
Wild Wild
so
West.
much.
Right.
That's one of my favorite bad movies. Is Wild Wild West.
I hated it so much because
All right.
it tried so hard to bite the style of Blazing Saddles, and they just couldn't recreate the magic.
Here we go. Here's a question. Then. What's your favorite bad movie?
Favorite bad movie?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Mine is. It's probably Mario Brothers. My favorite bad movie.
Mario Brothers. It's not that I dislike Mario Brothers. It's more so I'm pissed off that the people that are in it were even in it. Like Dennis Hopper, one of my favorite actors. Bob Hoskins, one of my favorite actors. John Leguizamo, who I still maintain is one of the most underrated actors ever. Like I hate that they did that movie. I don't know. My favorite bad movies is probably shit like Judge Dredd or
Judge Dredd, come on.
like Commando.
Not Dredd, honey. Dredd.
No, not the new one. Yeah, the new one is the good one, the one with Carl Urban. Judge Dredd, the original, with Stallone.
Oh yeah, that one sucked.
Yeah, but it's good.
It's awesome.
It's so good.
The law.
I
That's
am the
the
law.
only part I like. Law.
Law.
But even like Commando, with hey Sully, you remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied. Shit like that. You need to cool off. Like
Let off some steam. Dylan.
yeah, let off some steam. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, all those like 80s, like actually that's it. My favorite bad movie is Suburban Commando.
Oh yeah.
Yep, with Hulk
What about
Hogan.
you, hon?
If you're talking recent, it will be
Just
probably
ever. Like,
Batman.
what's your favorite shitty movie? Like that you love to
Oh,
watch.
actually, Howard the Duck is up there
The
too,
Crow.
man.
You
The
should
Crow?
know that already.
The Crow is not a shitty movie. You shut your mouth.
Like,
Yeah, it is.
it's a shitty movie to him. He hates it. I love it.
I don't hate it.
I
I
can
just don't.
quote
I
that
just don't
movie
think it holds.
back and forth.
No, I don't hate it because there's movies that I watch that are like older than The Crow, and I think that they stand up. I just don't think The Crow holds up anymore. It's like so pretentious and like, oh, love is gonna keep us.
Alright.
Love will keep us alive
Alright, I'm
through
gonna get the
every.
divorce
Shut your
papers
fucking hole, you
tomorrow.
heartless bastard.
Morphine is bad for you.
Shut up.
Ew. Mother is God in the eyes of children. All right, fucking Brandon Lee, why don't you go play with another toy gun? Oh
You
wait.
shut your whore
Dude.
mouth.
Dude, I have the crow tattooed on my back for that very fucking reason. It's a great cop film. I mean,
It is.
that's
Yeah.
like saying Rocky
The
Horror is,
like for me, especially here, like it's like against state law to not like The Crow because the guy that wrote The Crow is from Michigan. That's why it's all based around Devil's Night and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So yeah, like here, yeah, you get shot for saying you don't love The Crow because that's like one of our claims to
Right.
fame is the fact that we burn our cities down the night before Halloween. You know. But yeah, I don't. Howard the Duck is up there, man, in terms of bad movies. It's like Tim Robbins, fucking awesome in that. Fucking what's her name? The chick that was in goddamn Red Dawn. That's in Howard the Duck. Great. Like, I really dig that fucking movie. Like she fucks a duck. Come on. She literally fuck a duck. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one in terms of bad movies because there's
How
so
about-
many good ones from the '80s, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, see, I missed that whole thing, and like there's a lot of like, you know what? I
Oh, The
avoid it.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah, The Breakfast Club isn't really a bad movie though. That's just a
It's,
teen romantic comedy.
I hate that
Yeah, but he
fucking
hates
movie.
it. So
Or even
it's
like
I
fine.
hate
even The Wraith. Like The Wraith is a kind of shitty B movie, but
Oh, if you're
like
talking
from
about
that
B movies,
era,
I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Johnny Sunshine of fuck, what is it called?
talking about
It's
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
no, not
Oh,
that
I
one.
was gonna say because that's a fucking amazing movie.
She likes that movie.
That's probably my favorite Jim Carrey movie as far as like dramatic roles. Yeah. But no, like the Wraith, even to this day, any one of my brothers, if I were to be like Dodge Turbo Interceptor, they're like the Wraith. Like we fucking fawned over that car so much. A car that's in one movie and was only ever made as a prototype and sits in the fucking Dodge Museum down in Pontiac right now. But when that movie came out and everybody's seen that car, so many people fell in love with it. Oh yeah, half the stuff Van Damme did. Oh god, Bloodsport, dude. Bloodsport, that is such a good bad movie. Or even Kickboxer. Have you seen Bloodsport, Loster?
No,
You haven't seen Bloodsport.
there's a lot of like great like film.
I'm sure
opportunities
you've
that I
seen the
missed out on.
meme of fucking Van Damme with his eyes all crazy and the little bit of blood coming out of his nose and he's wearing the red and black shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from the movie Bloodsport. That's right.
Okay.
He's been blinded by this dust, and he fucking goes all nuts and basically does a jumping roundhouse kick to take this guy out of the tournament. But yeah, that's from the movie Bloodsport.
I
Fucking
missed that
epic
whole.
movie.
I missed that whole like Van Damme, Chuck Norris, like that whole '80s, '70s. Like I didn't because it's beyond. I'm too young. I was born after that. Like for me,
Yeah.
Van Damme. For me, Van Damme is like the '90s. For me, Van Damme is like fucking Time Cop.
Time Cop. That's
Like,
another
that's-
good bad movie
That's
though.
a fucking excellent bad
Um,
movie.
But yeah, like that era, like the earlier stuff, like Bloodsport, Kickboxer, even the Skull movies, Above the Law, which all of those were fucking outstanding. Above the Law, Hard to Kill, stuff like that.
Hard to kill.
And like fucking like Norris's movies, Invasion USA, fucking awesome. Hitman, where he's got the little shorty double barrel shotgun, fucking awesome.
Yep.
You know,
David Carradine had some good movies, like good bad movies, like and some pretty bad movies too.
and I was always more of a fan of Carradine after he got older. Although I did watch Kung Fu, like my dad dug Kung Fu, so I watched Kung Fu a lot.
Nice.
But yeah, I was always more of a fan of Carradine once he got older.
Like Kill Bill, Carradine.
Yeah,
That's the only. Yeah.
pretty much. But yeah, like Time Cop, man, that was a great bad
That movie was
from the
fucking
90s.
excellent. I love that fucking movie.
Oh,
Even when I was a kid, I loved that movie.
I remember the CG in that movie just being so bad. Like even at the time, the CG was so fucking bad.
And they run through the ripples of time in the like the time warp is like suspended in the air,
Yeah.
and you run through it, and you just literally just ripple through time and space. It's like a literal interpretation of time.
Stargate. I mean, look at what fucking Stargate did.
Yeah,
and that wasn't.
She
I
likes Stargate.
remember. I remember
Yeah,
when
that's
Stargate
great.
came out. I fucking love it. I never got into all the TV shows and stuff because it wasn't. It just wasn't the same. It didn't have fucking Kurt Russell, so I was like, fuck this. But yeah, like when that came out, like that movie wasn't big at all. It wasn't a hugely successful movie or anything like that. And then it stemmed all these TV shows and this and that. But yeah, when it came out, not many people were really in it. I fucking dug it because I had Kurt Russell and
Yep.
Kurt
Speaking
Russell's
of Kurt
badass.
Russell, I mean, you can't go wrong with fucking Backdraft.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Dude, I
absolutely.
love it. It's a great movie.
You got fucking which ball one is that? Adam Baldwin or
Alex.
no? Not it's not Alec.
Yeah,
That
it
one
is.
no. It's Bill. Is it Billy or Daniel?
No, it's Daniel.
Hold on.
It's Daniel. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's Daniel Baldwin.
you got Bob De Niro and fucking Kurt Russell. Oh,
Yeah.
movie's great.
Ooh, another fucking good bad movie was Soldier with Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
That had
yeah.
Jason Lee and Jason Scott Lee, and Kurt Russell in it. Kurt Russell got fucking jacked for that movie.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, there was a lot of really good bad movies like 80s, 90s. Actually,
go ahead.
and it's already like voted as the worst movie ever. But I remember watching with my dad a couple of times, like going over and hanging out, and we'd watch Battlefield Earth because of how fucking ridiculous it was.
I love that movie, dude.
God, I hate it so much.
What's his name? Rodney Pepper. What's his name?
Barry Pepper.
Harry Pepper. Yeah.
Barry.
I love that movie.
Fucking strawberry.
Barry Pepper. That's right. Yeah, I love that movie. Well, you were still learning how to spell your name.
Yeah.
Fucking John Travolta, Forrest Whitaker. Come on, that movie's awesome.
It was so bad, and like they learn how to fly fucking Harrier jets and shit.
Yeah.
It's just
and
like,
the guy who plays Tigger from Sons of Anarchy, isn't it?
Yeah, Kim Coates.
Yep.
Yeah. It was so bad.
Here's the problem, bro. We're talking about bad movies, and I feel like we should talk about good movies. But do you want to spend another half hour? Because we're talking about Kurt Russell, which will inevitably lead to like Tarantino, which that's like a whole other half hour
that's
discussion.
a whole shit. That's probably more than that because there hasn't been a single Tarantino movie that I haven't absolutely loved. Not one, ever. Like I
Really?
fucking dig every single one of them so much.
I've gotten her as we spend more and more of our lives together. I've gotten my wife progressively more into, because she's always been kind of like bored by Tarantino movies, like to a point. There's so much dialogue in them, and I understand that's not for everyone. Like, but like Kill Bill, for example, she loves part 1, but she's not too fond of part 2 because part 2 is very dialogue heavy, and part 1 isn't. But now I got her. She watched *Inglourious Bastards* on her own, and she fucking loved it. She watched *Hateful*. I got her to watch *Hateful Eight* with me. She loved that.
When he started teaming up with Christopher Waltz, like that kind of elevated shit even more. When he started doing shit with him, but even shit like *Hateful Eight*, like there's really not much action at all in *Hateful Eight*.
No.
Like, there's maybe a minute of action in that whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
But goddamn, is it suspenseful as fuck the entire time.
Isn't Natural Born Killers Quentin too?
No, he wrote Natural Born Killers, but then they completely like stripped his script. But because the only thing they left in is that character's name Scagnetti, the guy Tom Sizemore's character. And I think Tarantino actually tried to sue them to have his name taken off of the credits for that movie, but he lost.
The original idea was that Natural Born Killers, the two people, the killers,
Mickey and Mallory,
they were supposed to be the two characters from oh god damn it, no, I forgot the name of it. What's the fucking movie he did with Christian Slater?
Oh, True Romance.
True Romance, yeah. That was after all the shit went down in True Romance, basically then went into Natural Born Killers. Like that was all supposed to be the same universe. And it was also supposed to be the same universe as Pulp Fiction. Like all of that stuff was supposed to be like the same
Pulp Fiction,
universe.
Oh, that is interesting.
So Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and *Inglourious Bastards*, those are all taking place like in the same universe. And what you call it was supposed to as well, because Natural Born Killers was supposed to, because the character's name is Seymour Scagnetti, and Scagnetti is Michael Madsen's parole officer in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, so that all takes place in the same universe for Tarantino, which True Romance is like one of my favorite fucking movies. So yeah, when Natural Born Killers, like I would have loved to have seen what he originally had planned for it, because like you said, they completely tore his script apart. There was nothing left of it.
Wow.
So even though I dig Natural Born Killers and I fucking love Woody Harrelson,
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen what would have happened and whether or not Christian Slater would have still turned out to be a dog shit fucking actor that he is now, had he been able to, stick with Tarantino.
Dude, Mr. Robot though, come on now.
Yeah, yeah, he's good in that.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's necessarily him or just the writing or that he's playing opposite
Right.
fucking Robbie Malik or whatever, who was fucking awesome. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he did fucking Hard Rain, so come on.
He did Wind Talkers.
It's, oh god. That's another one that we could go on for fucking an hour
Nick
about is
Cage.
goddamn Nick Cage. Jesus
Oh God, not
Christ.
please.
Fucking hell,
Fucking
man.
hate him.
I'm not Castor Troy.
God, that's another good bad movie, man. Face
No,
Off.
it's not.
Fuck.
Face Off stinks.
It
There's
is
no
such a
redeeming-
good
Dude,
bad
Face
movie.
Off, I hate
Come on.
that part.
It's terrible.
God.
There's nothing
He-
redeeming about that movie. Hard Target's way better.
Oh, Hard Target's fucking amazing. It's got Lance Hendrickson in it. Come on. Lance Hendrickson has never done a bad movie. Even if the movie is complete dog shit, it is elevated simply by the fact that fucking Waylon is in it. That's it.
What were you saying about Face Off, babe?
Nothing.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
What? You like it, don't you?
No, there's this one part.
Oh,
You
I'm
know,
gonna
the
go do it.
hand
It's
over the
when
fucking
John Travolta
face. I can't
brushes his
stand
fingers
it.
Oh,
on his wife's
He-
fucking face.
He does that to me.
I do
and
that to her. That's like our inside joke. Is I'll like brush my fingers on her face. He's like, "Fucking stop! Don't touch me."
you know what?
Stand
You
it.
know what you do when he does that? Just fucking stick your tongue out and lick his hand.
That won't stop me.
No, it probably wouldn't. You're right. You're
Just like
fucking
slap.
weird.
Like yeah, that won't stop me. I don't. Spit doesn't gross me out. I'm perverse. I don't care. I don't have a soul.
The
Where
no,
we going,
that's
Disper?
no. Sorry, I'm reading that comment from Willow Bear. That-
Yes, that's our official clan name.
Yeah.
The whole
No.
thing. Welcome to the 506 IRRU FTX 818 TFA command is the OSA day one.
No, 506 IR Realism Unit is the unit name. That's why it's a unit in the title. But yeah, that's the unit name. We're not a clan. None of us wear sheets on our head. I don't know. I've always fucking hated that term. Like to call your group a clan. Like it's just weird to me.
We're Scottish.
I guess. I don't know any McLeods except for one. He's awesome. Those are actually more fucking good bad movies, man. The Highlander movies, at least the originals. I never really got into the ones with Duncan and the whole TV series and this and that, but
I got
yeah,
into
the stuff
TV
with
series.
the stuff with Christopher Lambert, Highlander 1, 2, and 3. I dug those, especially the one with Sean Connery. Yeah, yeah. I always dug Christopher Lambert though. Like he was in another really good bad movie called The Fortress. Did you ever see that growing up?
No.
It's Christopher Lambert and his wife basically go to this maximum security prison, and like if anybody's ever seen the episode of Top Gear when they drive the semis the first time, and Jeremy Clarkson's driving that black semi that's all blacked out, and the windshield has like just the one small strip of glass that he can see through. That's based on the truck that was in that movie, The Fortress. That's where he got the idea for that from. It's kind of, in terms of like B movies and stuff, that truck is kind of a iconic vehicle because of the looks of it and so on. And then another one like that is Maximum Overdrive. Did you ever watch that one?
That's the CDC soundtrack, right? Where
Yep.
basically Aaron's worst nightmare. All of the semi trucks try to kill
Yeah,
everyone.
pretty much, exactly.
Yeah. And the whole soundtrack is AC/DC.
Yeah, pretty much. Hold on. It was less. Remember the 506 PR on Steam? Didn't understand unit origins. Yeah, right. Well, we're based on the modern day 506, which isn't PIR. It's an IR. 506 hasn't been a parachute infantry regiment since before Vietnam. So anything PIR is based upon pre-Vietnam. So it's either World War II or Korea. Anything Vietnam on is based on air assault, and that's when they changed over to just an infantry regiment. But yeah, that had oh shit, what's his name? Estevez. Estevez.
Emilio.
Yeah, Emilio Estevez. Yeah, and the one truck from that's got the like Green Goblin face on the front of it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Everybody recognizes that truck from that movie. Yeah, there was a lot of them like that though. I remember at one point in time they were talking about remaking Maximum Overdrive. I don't know what the hell ever happened with it, but I know at one point they were talking about remaking it.
Me and Rain watched that shit movie. What was that called? Rubber? About the tire?
Oh God, that is such a dumb movie.
It's
What?
called Rubber.
It's
there's
a
movie.
tire. It's a car tire that kills people. It's just a
it
car
rolls-
tire. It rolls,
It
like
rolls
a
on its
tire.
own, and it just rolls up to you, and then it like uses its mind. It like blows you up. It just
What?
blows you- Yeah, it's called Rubber.
It's one of the worst films, I swear, ever.
Yeah. And then there's another one called was that clown? What's it called? About the guy who
It?
puts on the no, not it.
It's
There's one that
everything.
there's one that came out. There's one that came out. We watched it at my mom's house. That movie about the guy who puts on the clown suit and then he can't take it off, and then it turns him into like a cannibal.
What?
Nope,
Yeah,
I'm still thinking
yeah.
about it.
There's a
Hold on, I
movie.
gotta
Okay, there's a
fucking-
movie called Clown. I think it's called. They're about a guy who he finds a clown suit in his attic, and he wears it for his kid's birthday. But then when the party's over, he can't take the clown suit off and he can't take the nose off, and it turns him into like this monster that has to like eat. He has to like eat 5 children to like break the curse, or some shit like that.
Okay.
I forgot. I
Is
think
it-
it's just called Clown.
What the hell was that? Can't remember the name of that B movie back in the day. That were basically
Yeah, it's called Clown.
it was based upon an episode of Star Trek where these little fur balls,
Oh, fucking
critters.
not
Yeah,
critters.
critters.
Yeah, critters.
Yeah, critters. Fucking hell. Yeah.
That movie's great.
Yeah. There was a lot of them like that back then. Yeah, just say Charlie Sheen's brother, pretty much. That's Emilio Estevez is known
You
as now.
remember this movie, Clown, babe?
No.
You watched it with me at my mom's house.
Interesting story of how the long-range reconnaissance patrols were rolled into Rangers' owned history. Okay. Yeah, I have
What
no
is-
idea what the fuck long-range reconnaissance patrol has to do with the 506 Infantry Regiment. Like,
And on a movie podcast.
if you're trying to show off your military history, you're in the wrong fucking spot, homie.
It's the wrong podcast.
Everybody can fucking watch a movie or read a book. Like, it doesn't make us special. Cool LLRP was rolled into the Rangers. That's great. Yeah. Wow. Fucking Christ.
He just deflated the whole fucking thing.
It's like, I don't fucking, what? Like, dude, I
Well,
don't
it's like-
fucking,
Pulled the emergency brake.
I don't understand it. Like, what the fuck does that have to do in
Alright.
relation to anything? It
Alright.
doesn't even have anything to do with relation to the fucking 506th. Like, what? Because they're both army units? Like, what the fuck? There's a long fucking list of guys that went to fucking Ranger school, and it's not just members of the army. Like, you don't have to be in the army to go to fucking Ranger school, or at that, earlier days, go to fucking reconnaissance school. Like that, it's not just a fucking army thing. Fuck.
God damn it. Just threw a
Uh,
brick through our window.
I don't understand that. Like, somebody reads one book and they're like, I'm an expert. I need to make
They're
sure you know I'm an
historian.
expert.
You need to
Fuck,
know
dude.
what I know. All right. So what? I think I might know the answer to this. Like, hon, what's your favorite? We can do. We can because we figured we got at like 9:30, so 10 minutes we can spend.
Yeah.
I mean, I figure that's 3.5 hours. That's enough even for me and you, I think.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite movie, hon? Like, what's your favorite? Like,
Oh, you're a dick.
I can. Okay, you know what? To be fair,
Well,
like, what's a movie that
Fight
you could
Club.
just? Oh yeah.
What'd you say? I
Okay.
didn't hear you.
She said
Fight
Fight Club.
Club.
Oh, Fight Club? Right on. I can get down with that.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, that's kind of. I was gonna say The Crow, but for you, but
No,
Oh, thanks.
can't rain
for
all the
me.
time.
Go
no,
ahead.
that was gonna be my guess. Was The Crow.
I'm just saying, anytime we used to fucking like load up to go anywhere, we'd be like, fire it up, and then
Yeah.
we'd be driving down the road, and somebody'd be like, hey, I got to hit the store for some liquids. We'd fucking pull up, and somebody'd be like, all right, smoke some road beers, make it quick.
Um. For me, it's got to be The Thing. I think John Carpenter's The Thing.
Really?
That's got to be my.
That is
There's some.
one of my
There's
favorite horror
something.
movies of all time.
There's something about that movie, like of all the movies I've ever seen, and like don't get me wrong, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen, but like I've seen my fair share of films, and there's just something about The Thing that I can't get enough of that. I'll watch that movie anytime, day or night, anytime. It was on Netflix for a while. I watched it like every fucking day.
Honestly,
I love that movie.
I think one of the reasons that the thing is so good is it takes place in a very centralized location. Like, yeah, they move around the compound a lot, but you know it's all in one place. B, there's no escape. They can't leave.
Right.
There's no way for them to get away from whatever this is. C, they used all practical effects, and they were very, very well done. Even by today's standards, people will tell you the practical effects that they used in the thing were fucking outstanding. And that's one of the reasons, still to this day, that movie creeps me the fuck out. Like when that dog fucking comes apart and stuff, like that still creeps me out.
Or that fucking dude's head comes off and it's a spider that walks away.
Yeah.
And then Palmer's like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!" He looks at the fucking spider head crawling away.
Yeah.
They start on fire.
But that's why even when they did the prequel, which a lot of people didn't realize it was a prequel.
Yeah.
When they did the prequel, they used practical effects for that.
Yeah. Well, good for them. Too bad the fucking prequel. If the prequel's supposed to be at the Norwegian station, why the fuck are they all Americans? What the fuck's going on
I
here?
don't know. It didn't make any sense. I like that they ended it with the same shot as the start of the original. I dug that. But yeah, I did like that they used all practical effects because they were like, hey, this is how John Carpenter did it. We're gonna do it the same way. Yeah, I can get down on the thing.
Yeah, I love that. Like if I had to pick like a I don't know like a contemporary kind of film, I might probably Terminator 2.
God damn you.
Is that what you were gonna say?
Yes and no. Terminator 2 is really not my favorite of the Terminators for this reason. Terminator is my favorite movie, but it's only because of a very small scene in Terminator 1. And that is the nightmare that Kyle Reese has when he's sleeping. And he has the nightmare of the future with the fucking tank with the 2 arms and the laser cannons and stepping on the skulls and all that.
Yeah.
That, to me, when I was young, freaked me the fuck out. Like, it was like 87, I think, when the first Terminator came out.
88, I think.
87, 88, something like that.
Yeah.
That, to me, freaked me the fuck out. Even, like, I had watched fucking all kinds of shit at that point. I was, like, fucking a little kid watching R-rated movies. It wasn't that big of a deal. But just that scene in particular freaked me out. But in a good way. Like, I wanted to see more of that. That's why when Terminator Salvation came out, I was so fucking jacked for that movie because I was finally getting what I wanted for 20 fucking years.
Yeah, but
And
did
then
you
it
though?
fucking kicked me in the dick. And I
Did you
was
get
like,
what you wanted? Like,
there's
oh, Christian
no.
Bale is John Connor. Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck
Yeah.
Christian Bale. Hell yeah.
And then there's
Commons in
no
this movie. Fuck
gigantic
yeah.
fucking laser cannons and shit rolling over skulls. And it's like, motherfuckers, like, go 30 years farther into the future or something when it's like, we're fucked. You know,
Yeah.
John Connor is our
Right.
salvation because this isn't
Yeah.
it. Like,
Fucking,
Michael
there's just
Ironside was in it.
T800s
He
and
was
HKs
awesome,
everywhere.
but fuck
Yeah.
that.
It's all
But
T800s and fucking HKs. Like, that's it.
that has always been my favorite scene of any film. Was that nightmare that Kyle Reese has laying there in the fucking ditch in Terminator 1. Because I've been waiting 30 fucking years to see that movie, and I still haven't gotten it yet.
No, I haven't gotten to see it yet. Nope.
But my favorite movie, like the whole movie, and all of you are going to laugh at this point, it's Top Gun.
Yeah.
Really?
Really? Your favorite movie's Top Gun, huh?
Reason being,
I knew you were gay.
well, besides that, I mean, come on, fucking Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer playing fucking volleyball, all oiled up and shit. Come on, that don't get you a little chub. Something's wrong with you.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, a ripped Val Kilmer, not
Right.
that one.
Like, I don't fucking care if you're straight or not. They were some beautiful fucking men back then. But no, Top Gun was what made me want to join the military. Because I had always, of course, had a fascination with the military because I have a military family, but I always had a fascination with aviation specifically. You know, I had talked about this last week on the podcast. You know, I could name any fucking plane. So when Top Gun came out, it was the first thing like that. You know, and then, you know, you ended up with Iron Eagle and stuff like that. But that made me want to join the military. It didn't make me want to join the Navy, but it made me want to become a pilot, as it did with anybody that's seen that fucking movie. Because everybody thought we got to ride, you know, that pilots got to ride Kawasaki Ninjas
Right.
and fucking go home and fuck Kelly fucking McGinnis. So yeah, that will always be my favorite movie because it's the one that really made me want to join the military. Yeah, plus, I mean, come on, Kenny Loggins. I mean, fuck,
Yeah.
man. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely for me to think. So Fight
Or
Club.
it's either that or Full Metal Jacket. I could watch that over and over.
Do you watch it from start to finish though, or do you just like
Yeah.
you just like the early Ermy part though? Or do you like the whole movie?
Yeah, I only like the
Yeah,
first
I love the whole
fucking.
movie.
I only like
I
the
always
first 30
have.
minutes. I hate the rest of it. But at the same time, the reason I hated the rest of it is because I had, by the time Full Metal Jacket came out, I had already seen Arlie Ermy do better shit. I had already seen him
Right.
do Boys and Company C,
Was a Company C?
which
I'd
was fucking
never heard of that
outstanding.
movie. And then I was watching Arlie Ermy like montage thing after his death, and there was clips from Boys of Company C, and I'm like, holy fuck,
Mhm.
this is like almost better than.
Oh,
like,
it is,
Full Metal
absolutely.
Jacket.
That's what he did that right before he did Full Metal Jacket. That's
Oh, wow.
why he got brought in as an advisor for Kubrick for Full Metal Jacket. And then when Kubrick actually met him, and the two of them were sitting there going over, like, rewriting the script for who was originally going to play Gunnery Sergeant Hartman, Kubrick was like, why don't you just play the part? I've seen you do it before. You obviously know what you're talking about. Just play the part. And that's how we ended up with the role of Gunny Hartman.
Like that's an interesting like contrast too, because Full Metal Jacket is all about Kubrick trying to like dehumanize. Like that's what this whole thing is.
Yeah.
Like you take the human element out of Marines, turn them into Marines, and turn them into killing machines, and that's how you end up with dudes like, how can you shoot women and children?
Right.
You know, you just don't lead them as much.
Well, that's why I like Boys and Company C so much more, because it shows you all of the process of you know, breaking them down and then building
Really?
them
I
back
gotta watch
up and
that.
turning them
Yeah.
into a unit, which you
And
don't
there's
see that in Full Metal Jacket.
No, not at all. There's also like scenes in Boys and Company C where like Arlie Ermy is talking to like
Washington.
one of his Washington one-on-one, and he's like, look, dude, I got a really hard fucking job. Like he's talking to a man-to-man. He takes his hat off. And
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
like, dude, I got a fucking hard job here, all right? I got to turn all these fucking civilians into Marines, and I got fucking 8 weeks to do it in. And
you got to
do a
go
lot
fight
better
in Vietnam and this and that. Yeah. And that's why I liked Boys and Company C so much more, because, you know, Sergeant Lois, who he plays in that, in comparison to Gunny Sergeant Hartman, Gunny Hartman, you never see that human aspect to it,
Right,
which, you
right.
at
know,
all.
R. Lee Ermey talked many times about how that his job as an instructor wasn't just to break them down and destroy them. You had to rebuild them after that. You had to turn them into a fucking Marine. And all you see in Full Metal Jacket is
It's
him
him breaking
fucking,
them down.
yeah. So in Boys and Company C, you get to actually see him get, you know, one on one with these guys, specifically Washington, and turn him into a fucking leader.
There's like one brief moment of like humanity from Ermi in the Full Metal Jacket, and I think it's when he's giving everyone their duty assignments.
Mhm.
And when he gets to fucking Vincent D'Onofrio, he's like, you know, Private Pile, and he's like, sir, yes, sir.
Oh
And
yeah.
he tells him 0300 infantry, and at the end of that, he says, you made it.
Mhm.
Like I think that's like the closest thing to like
Right.
any semblance of like I'm proud of
Humanity.
you. Yeah, because that's the point though. The point of the drill instructor is to like you break down these new recruits, you break them down completely, then you rebuild them back up again in the way that you need them, and it's supposed to make like you proud and
Right.
Right,
you're
exactly.
And then
growing beyond my control, and I don't need to fucking hold your hand anymore.
And then he did another movie where he actually played a part in a combat role. The movie's called Siege at Firebase Gloria. And that's one of my favorite movies of all time in terms of military movies. And it's specifically because of R. Lee Ermey. Obviously, his one-liners are great. But there's one line in that movie that will stick with me for the rest of my life. And this guy had got laxed on guard duty, and the VC had snuck up and decapitated this fucking dude. And R. Lee Ermey's character is walking. All the guys are like in their defensive positions, and he's walking up and down their lines, holding this dude's decapitated head. You know, talking about how you can't get laxed and this and that. And he says there is no such thing as an atheist in a combat situation. I pray to Jesus Christ, Buddha, Allah himself, or, you know, something along those lines. Whatever I think I need to get me out of that situation. And it's just, I'll always remember that, you know, there's no such thing as an atheist in a combat situation. And that, you know, it's from a guy who's got the fucking experience. He's been in a combat situation in Vietnam multiple times. So yeah, that movie, that was one that was a really, really good look in terms of what Ermey did while he was active in Vietnam, which was really cool. And yeah, that's Siege at Firebase Gloria. I highly recommend anybody that's a fan of like military films or anything like that, watch that fucking movie. It's kind of hard to find. I had to fucking special order it on custom made DVD for my fucking dad because I couldn't find it anywhere. So I had to go to this company that like custom makes DVDs and shit, where they take like VHS tapes and record it into a computer, digitalize all of it, and burn it onto a DVD. Like it cost me $35 for a fucking DVD of a movie that's like 40 years old. But yeah, highly recommend going to check that out, guys.
I liked him in 7 too. 7 and
Oh yeah, 7. Even Saving Silverman, he was fucking
oh
awesome,
yeah,
dude.
yeah, that's right.
God, he was so good in
You
that.
chop her head off or something.
Yeah.
Now, if you get any urges that you can't suppress with hard liquor, use this. And he takes his hand out.
Yeah, he was genuinely such an amazing fucking guy.
A mail call was a great. I watched the behind the scenes for mail call.
Yeah.
And that his goddamn it, I fucked it up. Like his
Yeah.
because it's on History Channel. You can't say fuck on History Channel.
Yeah, exactly.
So listening to him say fuck all the time on this network television recording was hilarious.
Yeah.
God damn it, Arlie, you fucked it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how he talks to himself in third person because he was like, God damn it, Ermey. Which it was funny because my dad always did the same fucking thing. And I wondered if that was like something from like military side of things because you're constantly, you have to fucking state your name and rank and all of that stuff. So I always wondered if that was something you get accustomed to, being in the military and always having to state your rank and name and everything and referring to yourself in third person and like bitching at yourself.
Right.
And I noticed like while I, like, after I came home, I would do the same thing. Like, I would drop something and I'd be like, God damn it, Brewer. I'm like, what the fuck?
Did it again.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up. It's been fucking 3.5 hours. Jesus Christ. I knew it was going to be a long one. But there's still a lot of shit we need to talk about. One of these days, we're going to have to do one about Tarantino for sure.
I think so.
And, Rodriguez will fall in there quite a bit as well, because I am a huge fan of Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah. I want to talk about more about Scorsese, like Goodfellas and shit like that. Like,
God, that's those two fucking movies,
Goodfellas
and Casino. Like, those are two movies where if they show up on TV and you don't watch them, you might as well just cut your own balls off.
Yeah.
Right? Just get it over with. Okay.
Yeah.
Casino is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I got her in a Casino too. That's right, I did. That's right, I got her watching Casino. Goodfellas, not so much.
Oh, man.
That's fine. That's
They're
fine.
They're so even for me. Like, I can't pick a favorite out of those two movies.
I might like Casino more, only because I feel like Casino like kind of has a better story to tell than Henry's story. I feel like Ace Rothstein's story is more interesting than Henry Hill's story.
I don't know though, because the end of Goodfellas is just like, fucking hell, man.
Once he gets out of prison, I kind of lose interest in that film. In Goodfellas.
Yeah.
That was all the money we had, Karen.
All right, goddammit, we got to stop talking about movies. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about Blow too, because that was a fucking another one that was huge.
Oh, that's a great movie. That's another one he got me into.
George Young.
Yeah, he's writing another book, by the way. I don't know if you heard about that.
George Young still alive?
Yeah, he's out of prison and everything. He's writing He's writing another book. Because he actually said when he announced that he was going to write this new book, he was like, everybody, like Blow got huge, and everybody thought it was nuts and this and that, and he was like, that was the tame shit that like I was worried or that I wasn't worried about getting in trouble for. He's like, now that I know I can write all this stuff and not get in trouble for it, he was like, that was the tame shit that happened to us.
That was kindergarten games.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see what the fuck happened.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, we got to wrap it up here.
We got to wrap it up.
So
4 hours.
Right. So thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Very quickly, BT, thank you a ton, brother, for that subscription. I did catch that a little bit ago. I know I'm like 30 minutes late, but I get distracted easily. So thank you very much for that subscription. I do appreciate it. And again, Petco, if you're still hanging out, bro, thank you very, very much for that 50 spot. That's huge right now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight. I know it was kind of a lot of rambling and we were all over the fucking place, but yeah, when me and Lost are talking about movies and shit like that, it's going to take a while.
It's a lot of fun.
Her ADD kicks in too pretty badly sometimes.
It's a great fucking combination.
It really is.
A shining example is like yesterday during the 4th of July. Also,
music,
happy 4th of July to everyone. We were listening to music and it's just like, oh, here, check this out. She grabs my phone. She puts a song on YouTube. She's like, 30 seconds into it, we don't even finish the song. She's like,
oh, I do the same thing.
Oh, here's another one. I like this one too.
If I listen to an entire song in one setting, it's a good fucking song.
Exactly.
Like, because I'll listen to 30 seconds of a song and it'll remind me of another song. And I'll be like, okay, I gotta go listen to this now. So yeah, that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you for hanging out.
Yep.
Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you didn't, fuck off. But
thank you, Willow Bear, for the history lesson.
Yeah. That'll be it for now. I don't know if I'm doing anything tomorrow. Maybe I'll do some goose hunting or something with dipshit here.
Yeah.
Or I might fill in for a squad training or something. But Saturday, this weekend we got
a Zeus tomorrow. Havoc one.
Not tomorrow. Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Or Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, you're Zeusing Sunday, right?
Well, yeah, but I'm also Zeusing 1-4 tomorrow.
Oh, 1-4 squad training. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll fill in for that. But yeah, Saturday we got OSUT day 3. Sunday we got OSUT day 4. And then Saturday we have Task Force Charlie where I'll be filling in. And then Sunday we have Task Force Bravo where I will be filling in again. So yeah, I get to fill in twice this cycle. I know it's fucking insane, but I finally hired enough Ares operators that I get to fill in, and I don't have to fucking Zeus, provided Loster doesn't fuck anything up.
I'm not gonna. Hey, provided you can tell her now. Tell her, make sure that at 8 p.m. on Sunday. That
Yeah,
she...
8 p.m. on Sunday he's busy, and if he doesn't show up, I'll be mad at him. And
I'll make sure he
I'll
doesn't
blame
show
him.
up.
Yeah. No, please don't,
Like, all
because
of a
I don't want to Zeus.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like, her boobs fall out of her shirt at 7:55 p.m. Whoops.
Well, you'll be back by 8. So yeah, I'll be filling in twice this weekend. Hopefully you guys will be able to join me for OSA and all of that stuff. And hello, Taco, you are here just in time for us to end
Just in
tonight.
time for the credits.
But still love you. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow at some point in time. I'll probably fill in for One Force training if they got a spot or something. And then the regular stuff this weekend. Later.
Thanks, everyone.